Hello and welcome.
What up, everybody? No, I wasn't on yesterday. I was actually planning to stream earlier today too, but I overslept again. Well, we're in for something outrageously stupid. Just unbelievably dumb. So, Greg made a video about me being on steroids. And, of course, as Greg Doucette does, he literally got everything wrong and made shit up and didn't bother asking me about any of this to verify if anything he's saying is true. So, first mistake this idiot made was he literally only showed images of me natural. So this dumbass caught wind that I was on steroids, and without any care or thought or consideration, literally just went to my channel, saw my most recently uploaded videos. Oh, vegangains looks good. He must be on steroids here. And didn't bother to actually look up when I did steroids, look at my Instagram account, nothing. Like, by the way, there's, I don't know how many fucking videos and images of me being on steroids in my live streams. Not to mention the Instagram posts I've made. So this dumbass literally only showed images of me natural, both in the thumbnail and in the video. There is literally nowhere in his entire video where he ever shows an image of me being on steroids. Secondly, I do not want to ever really bring this up again, but he mentions my past relationship over and over and over again in this video, which literally has nothing to do with anything. This is like one of these rare, exceptional cases where I'm ever going to talk about this. But I don't want to hear a billion fucking questions about Jasmine again. I don't ever want her being brought up again on my channel. This is just one of those rare exceptions where today I'm going to talk about it again, even though I don't want to. I love vegangains, 51 months, holy cow, I must be your youngest, most loyal fan. P.S. Make me a mod, lol. When you're ready, Kenny, maybe I will mod you. But thanks for the support. Alright, let's watch this stupid horse shit.
Get my dream. I'm going to cancel my workout tonight because I want to cuddle with you. Do you just hear that sentence? You're canceling your workout to cuddle. Are you gay? Like, what is that? Really think about it. Like, ask yourself, are you gay? You know, not that there's anything wrong with it. You can be gay. There's nothing wrong with cuddling. But if you're a man and you enjoy women, why wouldn't you go to the weights and enjoy that first and you can cuddle after? I'm not saying don't cuddle. As soon as you hear vegangains, you should be thinking that sociopath, the psychopath, the guy that wanted to record a video of his grandfather having a heart attack and passing away, the guy that was happy.
Again, all this horse shit happened over a decade ago. Why do people keep bringing this bullshit up? Like, I live in people's heads rent fucking free. Like, Maybe we'll find out that Greg stole somebody's teddy bear once when he was 9. And maybe we could bring that up over and over and over again. You're a teddy bear stealer, Greg. You're an awful person. I can't believe you stole a little boy's teddy. Who fucking cares? Happened a decade ago. Like, Jesus Christ. Ugh.
When John Meadows passed away and was wishing the same fate on his son.
What the fuck?
That's the guy that we're talking.
Yeah, geez, here we go. Wah. Okay, so it's totally fine to kill animals and pay for their suffering and death to support a Holocaust, but you said something mean on the internet I don't like. You're a psychopath. Meanwhile, you pay for animals to get tortured and killed. Okay.
About right now. He called me and my ex-girlfriend animal abusers because we drank milk. The list.
Yes. How do you think milk is made, Greg? Like, if there was an industry that tied women up in like somebody's basement and you raped these women, forced them to become pregnant, and then you hooked them up to milking machines, and then you sold that milk as human breast milk at the grocery store, and then you pay for that milk knowing it was made by raping women, would you say that you're, like, supporting rape and abuse of human beings by buying that milk? If that's the case, then I guess you're supporting animal abuse by buying cow's milk, you idiot.
This goes on and on of the horrific things that this man has said. I do believe he openly
Congratulations, you're banned.
Admits that he has sociopathic or psychopathic issues, that he has borderline personality disorder. He's
never been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder.
Got something.
So I've had an extensive mental health exam. This was years ago. It was related to a court trial that I had where the police broke into my home for no fucking reason, and a lot of horse shit happened. They basically tried to ban me from owning any weapons, and I had to go to court over it, and I had to prove my own sanity. So I've had an extensive mental health exam. They noted nothing about borderline personality disorder, schizophrenia, psychopathy. Nothing. So, there's that. I have been treated for depression, and I had treatment-resistant depression. But I've never been diagnosed with bipolar disorder or anything like that. So, thank you for making shit up. Plants give longer erections, donating $2. Hair Cafe cooked in this video about Trump and RFK Jr.'s autistic claims. Do you think his theory of what the confounding variable is accurate? I didn't watch the video, so how would I know? We can watch that later. Thanks for the donation. Plants give longer erections.
I wasn't sure if he was just an actor. I mean, sometimes on the internet, we become like WWE. We play a character, a role, a part, trying to stir controversy. But I do believe that this guy legitimately has all these problems. And so...
Oh, okay. So not only is Greg a doctor, but he's a psychiatrist. Okay.
Coach Colton has put together a video going...
Yes, Coach Colton, the guy who literally made up lies and bullshit about me and literally never verified anything.
Over all of these things. And so if you want to go and check out his video to see his take...
Yeah, the guy who made shit up about me and literally got everything wrong.
On the whole thing, I'm going to be adding mine. He's on steroids now. I mean, is this a spin on the meme of how people saying they're natural vegans, like the genetic anomaly, making jokes, hey, I'm a natural vegan. This natural vegan, he's hopped up on steroids, and it's not clickbait, it's...
So, by the way, notice how dishonest he's presenting this? He's not mentioning that I came out and said I'm on steroids. It's not like I've made a billion fucking Instagram posts literally going over what I'm taking, when I started taking it, why I'm taking it. Like, he's basically like, oh, just like how Genetic Anomaly lied about being a vegan and natural. Oh, vegangains is lying about being on not on steroids. Like, anti-Muzz donators, are these dudes valid? I think they're pretty cool, to be honest.
Oh my god, don't.
Don't care. Thanks for the donation.
It's not, oh, I think he is. He admits it himself. And why does he do this? Well, because his wife divorced him.
So, my wife and I broke up last year in November, and you're telling me 9 months later... No. Yeah, about 9 months later, almost a year later, I decided to go on steroids. Like, okay, if this were, like, how long does this breakup have to, like, go on for until anything I do isn't related, you know, to the breakup? Well, I started taking steroids 2 months ago, so it would be 9 months. So, like, you know, I also bought a Rogue Rhino belt squat. Oh, I must have done that because of the divorce and I'm insecure about my legs. Oh, you know, I bought new motorcycle tires. It has to have something to do with the divorce and not because the tires on my bike are worn out. You know, I started adding cocoa powder to my protein smoothies. It must have something to do with the divorce and not because I figure it's good for me to add some more antioxidants into my diet. Like, guess what? There are reasons why people do things other than some fucking dumb relationship they had that they walked away from a year ago. Like, where did you get this idea that I went on steroids because of my divorce? Where did somebody tell him this? Did I tell you this? I don't recall. So here's the thing. Everyone is a fucking retarded, dumbass loser pussy who does not handle breakups well, and they project their own insecurities and nonsense onto me. I literally did not care about breaking up and divorcing my wife. I was thrilled that Jasmine left you. Oh, that's a funny way of putting it, because she was begging me not to have her move out of the house. She told me she needed years before she could move out, and this is despite having a fucking full-time job. She was begging and pleading with me not to have me kick her out of the house because, oh, I don't make enough money even though I have a full-time job, and I'm gonna have to spend so much time, like, getting my finances in order and finding an apartment. There's no way I'm ever gonna be able to live on my own. You're gonna have me live here for years before I can consider moving out. I literally had to fucking say, if you're not gone in the next... I gave her 6 months, by the way. I told her, if you're not gone out of here by 6 fucking months, then I'm canceling the fucking lease on the house where we're renting. Well, it's not a lease, but I'm canceling the fucking rental contract, and I'll just get a new place, and then you'll be left, out to dry, and then you can become homeless or whatever. I literally had to threaten her to do that for her to fucking find an apartment and start moving out. And then you know what she did? She bitched and complained to my fucking mom, making up fucking lies about me to my mother, saying that I am abusing her and I'm trying to make her homeless. And I'm assuming she was trying to get my mom to convince her to let her stay with me. So that's a funny way of putting it, that she left you when she was literally trying to fucking sink her claws into me and not leave, even though she's the one who claims to have initiated the breakup. So she never had any intention of breaking up with me, clearly. If she was sick of me and wanted me gone, then why the fuck did she beg me to, let me have her stay here rent-free? So, yeah. Speaking of having trouble moving on, clearly I'm not the one who has trouble moving on. I did not fucking care. I was fucking done with her. She is one of the most horrible, abusive, manipulative fucking people on the planet. And when she gave me that fucking bullshit, this is how she worded it, by the way. I don't think that I can, continue this relationship anymore. She didn't even say, we need to get a divorce. I don't think we can, I can continue this relationship anymore. I was fucking done. I knew she was just trying to be manipulative. You know what happened? I refused to pay for any more of her fucking bullshit. Her car, her horse, all that crap. I told her to get a fucking job, which she did, because, oh no, I'm gonna lose my car. I'm not gonna be able to have my horse anymore. She finally got a job after 8 fucking years of marriage and me telling her to get a fucking job. She finally got a fucking job. And guess what? The video game addict who just wants to sit on her ass all day and play video games and nothing else. Oh, well, I have to go to work and make money. Oh, let me see how I can manipulate vegangains. So she did this bullshit with me to try to convince her to stay, and that whole fucking plan backfired on her. Yeah.
And so he was lonely. I guess he needed to lock in. Perhaps he's going to try to attract another mate by having a shredded and chiseled physique.
Buddy, where the fuck did you get the idea that I'm trying to get another fucking girlfriend? If I wanted another fucking girlfriend, I would have gotten another fucking girlfriend. The amount of fucking messages I get from fucking girls on Instagram, I could have fucking gotten a girlfriend by now. Do you think do you think I'd have an issue just having at least hookups on Tinder at this point? I've been divorced separated, complicated issue, but I've been separated for, almost a full year now, 11 months. You think that entire span of time I've been trying to get a girlfriend? You think it would take me 11 months and I'm still failing? This is fucking retarded. I have no interest in a relationship right now. I'm not trying to date anybody. Again, where did you get this fucking idea? So you just make up bullshit about people? That's it?
There is more misinformation about you on YouTube than anyone else on the planet. It's pathetic.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking retarded. Oh, I can do the same thing Greg does. Hey guys, did you know that Greg's girlfriend, it's not actually his girlfriend, it's a prostitute that he pays to hang around him? Yeah, I don't know where I got that information from. I kind of just made it up. But yeah, Greg is paying a prostitute to date him. Trust me, it's just true, because I figure he's short, so what girl's gonna date him, right? So he's just paying a girl who's a prostitute to act as his girlfriend. I can do the same thing. How does that feel, Greg? Go fuck yourself.
Sup Richard, did you watch this video dismantling Mike Israetel's PhD dissertation?
Yeah, we already reacted to it. We reacted to it 2 days ago. I looked up the university that Mike Israetel went to. It was, East Tennessee State or something. It's a garbage, historically black college, and it has an 87% acceptance rate. So basically, he went to one of the worst schools in the entire country. And it's essentially a diploma mill. If he was able to get his PhD, with his PhD thesis being that bad at a historically black college, it's a diploma mill. So they allow in literally everyone and they pass everyone. They didn't even look at his PhD thesis. They just said, "Oh, those are some words you used in your paper. Good job, you passed." So the guy's a fraud. He doesn't have a real PhD. His PhD thesis wouldn't have even given me a passing grade in high school. It was just horrendous. I don't know if Mike went to that college because he was broke or because he had horrendous grades or because he wanted the easiest, cheapest way possible to get a fancy sounding degree. I have no idea, but yeah, he went to a garbage, one of the worst ranked schools in the entire fucking country, some piece of shit historically black college with an 87% acceptance rate. And apparently at that college, they'll literally just pass you regardless of what you fucking hand in. Thanks for the donation though, Saxby.
What set you off with Jasmine? How did you get on Greg's radar? Give me access to Umbrella Corp-Tech so I can create muscular Amazons, cool face emoji, dancer emoji, musical notes emoji, steam locomotive emoji, smiley face emoji.
Well, I cured my depression with the magic mushrooms, and I got off the antipsychotics, and that was, dude, if you can help it, just try your best to never be on antipsychotics. They turn you into a fucking zombie. I think if I was never prescribed those drugs, I would have fucking broken up with her years beforehand. They kind of rob you of it's like they rob you of your humanity and you don't realize what's really going on. So yeah, just being off the antipsychotics and just thinking fucking clearly just made it so much easier. But thanks for the donation, James. Cruz donated $2.
How about we all come together and say, let's stop attacking pedophiles? Senator Booker also said we should have bipartisan agreement. I think that's a great idea. We should have bipartisan agreement. How about we all come together and say, let's stop murders? How about we all come together and say, let's stop rape? How about we all come together and say, let's stop attacking pedophiles?
I don't know what the context is.
President Trump and drug manufacturer Pfizer announced a deal today to lower certain drug prices. The arrangement would bring American drug prices in line with the lowest paid by other developed nations, known as the most favored nation price. The National News Desk, Jeff Harris, joining us to break it all down. So Trump also unveiling plans for a direct-to-consumer website for Americans to buy drugs. Break down the busy day in the Oval Office. How would this all work?
This sounds uncharacteristic of Trump. Something sounds fishy here because this sounds like a good idea.
So it's called Trump RX. The government-run website would allow people to pay cash for certain drugs at discounted prices. As for the Pfizer deal, President Trump saying the drug manufacturer has agreed to offer certain drugs also at reduced prices. From the Oval Office Tuesday, President Trump announcing Pfizer has agreed to bring American drug prices in line with the lowest paid by other developed nations.
To all consumers at heavily discounted prices of anywhere between 50 and even 100%.
Under the deal, every state Medicaid program will have access to MFN drug prices. Pfizer must offer medicines at a steep discount when selling to American patients, and MFN pricing must be guaranteed on all new medicines Pfizer brings into the U.S.
No family should ever be forced to choose between filling a prescription and putting food on the table.
The deal Tuesday follows this letter Trump sent in July to over a dozen drug makers demanding they take steps to lower drug prices, Pfizer marking the first agreement reached.
Yeah, this is bizarre. This is like a good idea. How the hell is this coming out of the Trump administration? One of the reasons why U.S. drug prices are so ridiculous is because of insurance companies. So there's like this weird fucking system where insurance companies end up managing the fucking cost of drugs. Basically, it's a whole racket to force people to buy insurance rather than just buying cheap drugs out of pocket. Because if you can just buy cheap drugs out of pocket, then you're not going to have to pay money for an insurance plan. So these drug prices end up getting artificially inflated massively. And we're talking about like ridiculous overinflation. Like oftentimes it's 20x what other countries are paying for. It's outrageous and insane. I think for insulin, Americans are paying about somewhere between 4 to 10 times what Canadians are paying. Americans are paying about 20 times, what European countries are paying for some of these GLP-1 agonist drugs. So it's just a racket. So it's weird that the Trump administration would literally fuck over all these insurance companies, which I'm sure have like lobbyists and shit, and allow direct-to-consumer pricing and like this most favored nation pricing.
Some specific medications included in the deal treat dermatitis, arthritis, and migraines, each now being discounted between 40 and 80%. Pfizer CEO saying this, quote, landmark move is a big win for Americans.
There is no doubt about it. They are the ones that will see significant impact in their ability to buy medicines.
Trump also announcing a direct-to-consumer.
So I don't know if he's going to start doing this with other drug companies or if this is just some weird PR move. But like this is a systemic problem in the United States with practically all drugs.
Consumer website called Trump RX, which would allow people to pay cash for certain drugs, including some from Pfizer, at a discounted price.
These drugs will be available for direct purchase online at a website operated by the federal government.
Now, Pfizer also announced it will invest.
They're literally calling it Trump RX.
$70 billion in U.S. manufacturing and research in return for a 3-year tariff exemption. Trump adding he'll be meeting with other drug makers.
Okay, well, maybe that's a good thing.
Up tomorrow with low testosterone. Here's
what?
If I woke up tomorrow with low testosterone, here's
How would you know if you woke up with low testosterone?
what I would do. The first thing I would correct is my diet. I would eat an animal-based diet. I don't think everybody needs to eat this way, but damn, it's
Eating meat does not increase your testosterone.
effective. Get all of the junk food out of my diet.
So this idiot was on the carnivore diet and he crashed his testosterone levels. He had to add in fruits and vegetables to his diet and white rice. And then his testosterone increased. So it wasn't until he added in plants that his testosterone went up. Like, this guy's a fucking clown.
That's what I would do. No seed oils, no food dyes, no processed food. I would think about my sleep. I would go to sleep at the same time every night. I would make sure to get tons of sleep. I would avoid alcohol. I would avoid drugs, especially marijuana, which is known to lower testosterone.
Marijuana is not known to lower testosterone, and the research on it is mixed. Some research suggests it lowers it slightly. Some research suggests that it increases it slightly. It's probably related to lifestyle and like just individual, use. So if you're smoking weed like fucking constantly all day long and you're a massive pothead and you barely fucking exercise and you might be using weed in combination with other drugs, and you have like erratic sleep patterns, like, yeah, that would probably lower your testosterone. If you're occasionally smoking weed, maybe as like a sleep aid or just moderate, infrequent recreational use, that might just lower your stress and it might regulate your sleep if you're using it as a sleep aid, and that might increase your testosterone. So there's no research clearly like pointing, oh, this lowers your testosterone. It's mixed.
And I would be very careful about my exposure to blue light at night to protect my sleep. During the day, I would try and get out in
There's no evidence that blue light exposure interferes with sleep.
the sun as much as possible. I would get a consistent
Yes, because sunburns are good for testosterone, apparently.
exercise regimen, and I would do some grounding. I would have my feet touch the ground.
Yeah, touching your feet on the ground does not boost your testosterone.
I'm 47 years old. My testosterone is around 800. I don't take any drugs, no hormones. I never have. I'm grateful that my testosterone...
Well, I'm 34, and my testosterone is over 2,000, and that's because I inject testosterone. So if you want high testosterone, inject testosterone. You'll never get it as high as injecting testosterone naturally.
Testosterone is high, but I'm intentional about this. I work for this. My diet is dialed, my sleep is dialed, my sunlight exposure is dialed. I don't do any garbage foods in my diet. So if you have low testosterone, it is correctable. Just change the way you eat and the way you live.
Well, that was stupid. Thanks for the donation, Cruz. I don't fucking care. Thanks for the donation, F Money.
Mike might as well have flown to Haiti and bought a PhD. Clearly he gained nothing from his PhD other than just being able to say he has one.
Yeah. The guy's a complete fraud. Just an idiot. Thanks for the donation, E-Nation. Dodo donated $3.
Israeli terrorists have begun violating
Greta Thunberg. Alright, I'll watch that later. Thanks for the donation, dude.
Please watch and react, smile emoji, gay cock emoji, 7777 emoji, suicide emoji.
These little stickers protect you from EMFs from your phone. Let's find out. I've got an EMF meter here. You can see that your cell phone with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth on does produce a pretty significant amount of RF EMF, non-native EMF. That's why I don't hold it next to my head, why I don't keep it in my pants unless it's on complete airplane
Paul's a fucking idiot.
mode. But you can buy these device neutralization stickers, and they say they're premium electromagnetic field neutralizers. Let's test. Look at that.
If they worked, you wouldn't be able to use your phone.
I get 8 premium stickers. It's got a little infinity symbol on there, so it definitely has to help, right? Put it right there on your phone. But wait, I've got another brand, Quantum Shield, nanotechnology. Ooh, let's put them both on there together. Does absolutely nothing, guys. Absolutely nothing. But wait, what if I cover the whole back of the phone with these stickers? Let's find out. As you can see, guys, covering the whole phone with every single sticker does absolutely nothing. This is not how these devices work. But airplane mode works. That's where it should be when it's in your pocket, when you're traveling with it, you're not actually using it, and use the speed.
Like, just to Like, you have to be such a fucktard. So this guy tells you to bake your fucking skin in, like, in broad daylight, afternoon sun, in fucking, at the equator in Costa Rica, where, like, you know, ultraviolet light exposure is way higher. So he thinks ionizing radiation that actually causes cancer is good for you and not dangerous, advises against using sunscreen, but he's worried about like very, very low powered radio wave frequencies that are non-ionizing. They cannot possibly damage your body's tissues. Not only is it non-ionizing radiation, but cell phones are regulated. They cannot produce enough energy to raise the temperature of water. So you can, in theory, still damage body tissue just through heat, basically. They're regulated, so they cannot produce enough heat to do anything. So he's worried about this, but literally ionizing radiation from the sun is perfectly safe. Like, he's such a fucking idiot.
Here's how to make a completely grain-free, animal-based flatbread. Why would you eat regular flatbread if you have gut issues? There's a lot of grains in here. There's wheat gluten. These things trigger a lot of people's gut. Let me show you how to make
They don't.
this flatbread.
So, by the way, this guy encourages you to eat eggs and consume dairy products. Eggs and dairy are the two most common food allergies. Dairy being the first, eggs being second. I think, like, wheat allergies are, like, something like the 20th most common food allergy. It's below peanuts. So why would he, like, yeah, he's just an idiot.
Which has absolutely no grains and is completely animal-based and delicious. So only 3 ingredients: eggs, preferably pasture-raised and organic; cottage cheese, I used some organic cottage.
Yeah, so add the most common food allergens to your fucking food while trying to avoid allergenic foods. Okay.
Cottage cheese for this one, and shredded Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. Combine 2 eggs for 1 cup of cottage cheese. Put it in a blender, blend it up, add a little extra salt if you want. Pour it onto a baking sheet that is covered in parchment paper. You might want to put...
This would be the most disgusting, nasty, horrendous shit. Like, my God, that would just taste so fucking bad.
A little bit of tallow on the parchment paper so nothing sticks to it. Put it in the oven at 350 degrees for 40 minutes. I overcooked this one.
He's literally eating straight cheese into eggs and passing this off as bread.
Just a little bit, but it still tastes amazing. Pull it out, let it cool, and voila, you have completely...
So, imagine, like, you ordered a pizza and you, like, just scraped off all the cheese and just ate it. Like, that's basically what this is. Like, that... And guaranteed, he did not eat that because it's fucking disgusting.
This is animal-based sunscreen. 100 million, billion, zillion times better.
So after saying don't wear sunscreen, he's wearing sunscreen.
The traditional sunscreens, or other, quote, healthy sunscreens, which are full of seed oils and all kinds of carcinogenic garbage. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this. This is so...
Better at what? Sure as hell isn't better at protecting your skin from UV radiation.
Healthy, you could even eat it. Pretty good. Let's go, I'm gonna show you. This is all it takes to make your own animal-based sunscreen. So this is an improvised...
So dermatologists have reacted to this video. This is a really poor quality sunscreen.
Double boiler, just an inch of water in there for the spreadable. This is your...
So you can't just add zinc powder to tallow and assume you're getting an adequate sunscreen. Modern sunscreens have, like, they're specially formulated, and they don't just use zinc powder. They use a special micronized zinc powder that better protects your skin. If you just order zinc powder and then, you know, put it in fat and then put it on your skin, It's way worse than just getting a zinc-based sunscreen. Thanks for the donation, though, gay fucktard. Retard donated $3. Oh no. Oh, doggo. Oh no. Oh. Oh. Oh no. Dogs are so silly. Oh. Oh. Is she realizing it's okay? Oh. She's just trying to be safe. Doesn't want to fall through.
Agree on what should be funded. Democrat kiddies want you to have health care. Republican kiddies do not. Republican kiddies control the Senate, House, and the White House, so they're using that to cut your health care and give money to billionaires. Democrat kitty tries to negotiate, but Republican kitty keeps running away. He has a vacation to get to. Uh-oh. Suddenly the money you pay for your health insurance has tripled. Thanks.
Yeah, basically. Wall Street Journal reports that Trump has signed an order for the U.S. to start providing Ukraine with intelligence for long-range strikes against energy infrastructure. That's good. Thanks for the donation, retard.
How funny is it that the pro-Palestine tards were screaming about stopping the supposed genocide, but now that there is a ceasefire deal with 20 Middle Eastern countries on board, they are all quiet. I'm pretty sure they just want Israel destroyed, lol.
What do you mean, pretty sure? Obviously. They're just anti-Semites that want to kill Jews. Thanks for the donation, Big Tootie.
What happened to all the pro-poly that wanted a ceasefire? Now that there is a proposed ceasefire, they all ran away into their tunnels, Lamau.
Yeah, they just want Jews to be killed. Thanks for the donation, Big Tootie.
I show speed runs a laser-timed 4.4940 yards dash. Bro is actually fast, WTF. That would be a good time for a wide receiver in the NFL.
Well, considering he only weighs like 140 pounds, that's not really a great time. He wouldn't be able to be competitive in the NFL.
I'll see what I can run.
Come on, no thinking, let it go.
Come on, get out! Come on! Come on!
Oh, he did it.
Yeah, like he's fast, but he wouldn't be able to play football. He's just way too small. Thanks for the donation though, nigga. Cavs on LSD, $20. Did you know this guy? He's a vegan Trump supporter. He wants you to be more conservative.
Finster jerk and slurp you. Look them up if you...
I don't know who that is. Thanks for that donation, dude.
I don't know. One of those things is probably the answer. But he used to hate on everyone for abusing performance-enhancing drugs.
Never hated on anybody for taking performance-enhancing drugs. I'd call out fake natties and liars and frauds like Liver King who are using this fake natty bullshit to sell supplements. I never give two fucking shits if somebody wanted to take steroids. Like, I advised against it because at the time I thought steroids, had, huge health risks. I've changed my opinion on it now. I think you can take steroids safely where it's just not going to make a difference to your health, assuming that you can, do things like keep your cholesterol, blood pressure in check. But I never hated on anybody just for being on steroids, so he's just making up bullshit and lying now. Lyft donated $2. Can you do this also? How's this form? I've benched 315 for 9. On incline.
For as many reps as we possibly can. And that's only possible because we're wearing this Predator Poachers Blue Sky Body Slam t-shirt, okay? You can get in the pinned comment down below.
I've never incline pressed 315 for 8. The most I've ever incline pressed was like 275, and I think I might have gotten like 6 or 7. Part of the reason for that is just because as I was accumulating up when I was trying to bench 410, I strained my pec tendons, and I couldn't incline press more than 275 without hurting myself. I might have been able to do it, but I had to just stop. But that's very strong. That's a very impressive incline press. I might be able to do 315 for 8 in a few more months, assuming the steroids work. Thanks for the donation lift, and his form's fine.
Pointing the finger and saying, how dare you? But now the finger is being pointed on himself, and so oh my, have the times have turned.
Well, well, well. How the turntables...
So let's get right into this video.
So this is literally video footage of me natural.
I just feel like the fitness industry is crippling itself every single day that it exists, and it is just wild to be a part of. We got
Mind over mashed potato donated $2. Is your view that steroids can be healthy if cholesterol is monitored, etc., similar to a view that animal products can be healthy if monitored or modified in certain ways? Or are steroids healthier than meat, dairy, eggs, in your opinion? Depending on what compounds you're taking and at what doses, like the dose makes the poison. Like, if you have 1 egg a month, is that comparable to taking a gram of tren per week? Like, yeah, the gram of tren is going to be worse for you. Like, it entirely depends on what you're talking about. Thanks for the donation, though, dude. If I secretly feed my mom gluten, she says she feels great and loves the food, but I can't convince her she doesn't have a gluten allergy and she won't eat normal bread. Yeah, like, practically nobody has gluten intolerance or gluten allergies. They just nocebo themselves into thinking they have a problem with it.
Fake natties.
I mean, how is Hussein Farhat in the beginning of this video? You've got fake natties, Hussein Farhat, as if he's a fake natty. Does that...
So that's hilarious. He literally recommended people watch Coach Colton's bullshit fucking video about me where he made up lies and nonsense the entire time. And then he shows a clip of Colton saying, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, and he's an unreliable source for information. Like...
Everyone already know that Hussein has been vindicated. He's now passed 4...
Who would win in a game of chess, a mind reader or someone who can see the future?
I think it'd end up being a stalemate. Presumably, the person who could see the future might have a, might end up having an advantage, because if you can read somebody's mind, you would still have to, like, be a good chess player, because you'd have to know how to properly counter a given move. But if you could read somebody's mind who can read the future, then you'd also know the future. So it'd probably just end up being a stalemate. Thanks for the donation, though, Chess.
Blood work tests at random with no notice, and a lie detector test that the person doing the test who've done it for decades had him so sure that he was 100% natural. He said, I'll also add in $500,000 on top of Hussein if anyone could ever say this guy is a fake natty. Hey, whoever sold him the gear, if you believe he was a fake natty, somebody must have sold it to him. Someone. And so that person right now could stand to make $500,000.
So this is some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my fucking life. Steroids are legal in Canada. You can buy them on the internet. and there's 3 main suppliers in Canada. I'm not going to mention like who they are because I'm sure that would go against YouTube's terms of service. But there's 3 main suppliers in Canada. I'm sure there's plenty of UGLs, but as far as like big websites that people buy from, there's three of the most popular in Canada. I think 2 of them are on the East Coast, one of them's on the West Coast. So if like nobody buys steroids through a drug dealer, they all just buy it online. Why would you ever like talk to a guy at a gym and then like get mystery drugs from some random dude? You'd just go to a reputable supplier that has an online website and posts, third party testing on the website verifying that, what you're ordering is legit. So Hussein would have ordered his steroids on the internet and no one selling to him would know that it's him. Like, this is just stupid. Dodo donated $3. Let me see.
This is the Israeli Navy. You are approaching a blockaded zone. If you wish to deliver aid to Gaza, you may do so through the established channels. Please change your course toward the port of Ashdod, where the aid will undergo a security inspection.
We are here with the conscience of the world, moving peacefully in a non-violent humanitarian mission to take this aid. You are not allowed by international law to stop us, therefore...
Yes, they are.
We do not comply with your request.
Just pathetic. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
$500,000 for outing this guy. Oh, yeah, I'm Hussein's dealer. I used to sell him tests, SARMs, what?
Svaria Telegram video clip that was leaked onto TikTok.
Fucking hate TikTok.
You can't actually really prove that somebody was raped 99% of the time because it happens behind closed doors. This stupid bitch. It's okay to have sex in front of your children, even though, as I said in the last video, every animal on Earth has sex in front of his children. It's completely normal. There's nothing more normal on Earth. Or how he said that his son touched his penis. I'll talk about this more in...
Oh, he's talking about that weird cult with the guy who got arrested for child abuse and shit.
A separate video about sex, but again, nothing in any way wrong about it.
Yeah, Sverge is crazy. Thanks for the donation, nigga.
Whatever. You can make $500,000, but where is that person? Oh, that's right. The person doesn't exist. And so, if you give me a guy who passes 4 blood work tests, and who's literally the biggest he's ever been right now, is with him over the weekend, his body weight's up to 184 pounds lean. He's setting PRs on the bench, and his blood work has came back healthier than last time. No enclomiphene, no peptide.
Was he tested specifically for enclomiphene?
Nada.
And vegangains is a YouTuber and streamer who...
Yeah, because enclomiphene will boost your testosterone without lowering follicle-stimulating hormone.
Just when Ted Cruz could not get any worse.
Let me see. I don't know what the context to all that is. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Who has quite a dedicated audience.
Always keep making those vegan gains.
And so clearly he's made a lot of non-vegan gains. I mean, he's not making the gains from eating vegan, it's from steroids. You see the old Flex, he had a lot of body fat. It was a rather large arm, but it was covered in excess fat. It didn't have a good looking arm. But now, I mean, his
So, because I grew muscle, I'm on steroids? Okay, then I guess Hussein Farhat is on steroids because he grew muscle. Like, you understand that I haven't been on steroids for years, Greg. I've been on them for 2 months.
Physique, and I'm sorry, I tell it like it is. I'm not going to be biased. His physique is stupendous. It's way above average. But it is, of course, from taking steroids.
And told him that eating meat was the cause.
Like he's so stupid. He literally didn't bother doing any research or preparation for this. He didn't check any of my social media, and he literally just like caught wind. Oh, Vegan Gains is on steroids? Let me take a look at his channel. And then he literally brought up videos of me natural.
Cause of it, and he's getting exactly what he deserves.
And since your followers have a tendency to dislike my videos before they even watch them, I think it's only fair that you die of cancer.
I didn't know he said that about Furious Pete. I used to watch this guy eat the crazy diets, all the calories. He hopes that he dies of cancer? Like...
Oh my god. So, first of all, this whole Furious Pete cancer thing, that was brought up because he made a fucking t-shirt basically making fun of animals suffering and dying from eating meat. So, once he got the cancer diagnosis, I said, okay, well, if we're making a joke about animals suffering and dying, I'll make a joke about you suffering and dying. Haha, you're gonna get cancer and die. Only fair. And then, of course, everyone's fucking meat fucktard and they're pussies and they can't handle anything. So they all whined and cried and, like, said the usual bullshit. Like, eating meat's not the same as, like, torturing and killing an animal, even though that's what you have to do to eat meat. You know, the usual horse shit. And I love how people also ignore the fact that, like, I literally met Furious Pete in person and we got along. We kind of, like, forgot about that whole beef. I don't know if I ever, like, apologized to him. I don't think I apologized to him. But, yeah, I think the video's still on my channel. Might have said something to the effect of, you know, let's just forget about our beef or something. But it's so long ago. Who cares? Like, you can even see in the video, I'm so much younger. Like this, what has it been like a full fucking decade now since this happened, and people are still bringing it up? And like even Furious Pete himself doesn't care?
Who wishes cancerous death on anyone? Like, people don't do that. But that's what we're talking about.
Oh, okay. So I guess when Hitler started getting his neurological issues, like Parkinson's or something, poor Hitler. Oh, I wouldn't wish cancer or Parkinson's disease or anything bad to happen to Hitler. I wish Hitler was in good health. Right, sure. No, if someone's a piece of shit and you don't like them and they're an awful person, it's only reasonable to want them to suffer and die.
VG, I can't quite express how disappointed I am in you. I thought the reason you were streaming late is cause you were busy making a response video to Greg VG. All of these YouTubers are making videos about you and now is time to make a video so people get recommended it.
I'm gonna make a video partly responding to Greg tomorrow. I don't have to train tomorrow, so I'll have plenty of time. But I'll make a video tomorrow. But thanks for the donation, Dodo.
About with Vegan Gains.
I was planning on showing you guys footage of my grandfather.
Like, again, this is more than a decade ago. Why? Like, just why does this matter anymore? Dodo, donate $2. You need to make response videos ASAP. Stop delaying and being lazy. If you need not stream for a day or two, that's fine. Just make videos instead because the algorithm will bless you. You need to get people to see a big, strong vegan and we'll turn another generation vegan. Okay, sure, Dodo. Thanks for the donation.
Rare J Masters upload. Only 2-minute video.
Yes. Hello, Misfits. Big J here, checking in from the gym. I have sold out to the dark side. I am no longer a Jedi Knight. I am about to engage in rack pulls for the dark side. So, I've got 405 on the bar. It's kind of a joke doing 405 for someone who's bench pressed 405 in the past. Kind of lowering my standards here with rack pulls. So in honor of Big Lenny and the holiday of 10/10, which will live in infamy, along with December 7th, is some of the darkest days in the history of our great nation. In our Lord Jesus Christ, I pray, amen. Here we go. Father. Come on, Big Lenny. Be with me. See if you can't get 12 here, Big Lenny. Nothing. Having a conversation with God. Strongest misfit there's ever been.
Okay. Thanks for the donation, nigga. Dodo donated $2. When was the last time you had this kind of views and attention on your channel? It's literally been like 10 years since Mr. Repsy on Penguin Zero. 100 million channels made videos about you, and over years you converted thousands of people vegan. That came from them. Okay, well, thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Agreed VG. For example, I wish death on the majority of my teachers from my youth and wish that vultures would eat their corpses after they die.
Yeah, there's a few teachers I had where I wouldn't mind if they were eaten by vultures. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Please watch and react. Winking smiley face emoji, cum explosion emoji, unalive myself emoji, Jewish small hat emoji, nigger poo emoji.
And explain this theory of yours one more time. Slowly and clearly, because I'm afraid some of your fan buddies are going to be a little confused.
The judges look for one thing.
What?
The first thing they look for is your legs. You have legs and you have wheels.
Yeah.
That wins competitions. Legs win shows. And if you have the legs and you have no upper body, it's easier to build a top body. If you have the top body and you have no wheels, you have a nightmare of going pro. You have no wheels.
So you have wheels. How come you haven't won a show yet?
Because I'm not ripping them. That's why. I got a good leg development. I want to build my upper body. Everybody says, build your fucking upper body.
All right, well, he's the expert.
Let me give you the latest soundbite from Barack Obama about his marriage to Michelle. Oh, sorry, reversing
we
that.
always
Michelle Obama
have
about her
the
marriage
kids to talk about, right?
Right.
But not on a day-to-day basis. So now that we're empty nesters, it's like, well, what are we going to talk about? So we're together all day, and we do this thing where it's like, I'll see him, and it's like, what you been doing? It's like, oh, don't tell me until dinner, because we got to have something to talk about at dinner.
Are you sitting there in a place that you know what matters to you in that moment?
Mm-hmm.
And are you curious about your partner's edge or where they're at? Like, what are you thinking about?
Do you really go there?
And then
do you really say,
creating...
because how many times somebody asks, what are you thinking about? And you're like, well, let me make up a thing because I don't want to actually tell you what I was
really
thinking about.
Happened right now.
Which was like, the way you're chewing makes me want to smack you upside the head.
That's why guys don't want to have
Would that be an edge?
That would be an edge. And that would be really interesting. You could like open something up there.
Like,
and
Dude, women are just such judgmental, fucking annoying cunts. Like, imagine if a dude openly, like, talked about this. Like, the way my wife chews makes me want to punch her fucking teeth out. Like they'd get canceled. And, you know, they'd lose their fucking job. But then, like, women say this, and it's like, like, what a fucking bitch. Oh, well, thanks for the donation, dude. Donate $2, the very least, clip this part of your stream and upload it. Holy shit, VG, you need to stop disappointing me. Yeah, sure. I'll make a video tomorrow. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Actually having the heart attack. As soon as the paramedics got to the house, I took
Nobody
out my
fucking
Just actually think all of this is real.
Son's a piece of fucking shit just like you, asshole. And I'm sure he eats like shit just like his dad. So yeah, hopefully that piece of crap also fucking dies in his sleep.
And I mean, to go and pick on a child like that, he was what, 12 or 13, and hope he has the same fate as his father. I mean,
Jerian Ryder.
I just can't imagine him not being able to empathize with the child and think this is not the right thing to do. His dad just died.
Literally don't care.
And you're...
You know, you can't empathize with the animals you eat, and I don't empathize with fucktards who eat animals, so go fuck yourself, Greg. What is this? Just moralizing, concern, trolling bullshit?
Wishing the same fate on his son and calling him a loser. And this was because they were out fishing. That is why. I'll leave it at that.
Oh, they were only torturing
Let's just
animals.
be glad she will never be president.
Yes, thanks for the donation, Dodo. They were only torturing animals. They were only trying to, like, put a hook through an animal's mouth and suffocate it to death. Why would anybody be upset about that? Like, Greg's an idiot.
Recently divorced vegan gains, and so a lot of things can make a man lock.
Like, this is just so fucking stupid. At what point did, I've always weight trained. During my marriage, when Jasmine and I were together, I benched 410 pounds. Do you think you just accidentally bench 410? Like, you know, I'm gonna work out today. Oh, wow, I'm stronger than I thought I was. Like, I was working out religiously when I was with Jasmine, and guess what? I'm still working out religiously without her. What does this have to do with a fucking breakup?
Oftentimes it's when they become single. For some reason, when there's not a woman next to them, they think
I lost 70 pounds in 3 months after I benched 410 pounds while I was still with Jasmine. Nothing about the fucking breakup changed my lifestyle.
you know, this is the time for me to get my dream physique, for me to go to work and to study, to get a job, to educate myself, and to become a better man. Why aren't you doing that while you're with your woman?
I was. You idiot. You could have asked me, but you don't care. You just wanted to make up bullshit in your stupid fucking video.
To me, that would make even more sense. What do you think women are attracted to? Do you think they're attracted to losers? And so why act like a loser while you're with one? Why don't you act like the winner that you want to become right now?
How do you think I benched 410 pounds? How do you think I lost 70 pounds in 3 months? Like, this guy's an idiot.
Now, whatever that may be, you think...
He's literally just making shit up. Thank you, Greg. You make up nonsense.
You want to lock in? Do you want to lose weight? You want to get more muscle? You want to get a better job? You want to learn a new language? Do all of those things. Today. Don't wait until you're dumped. But for some reason, people have to wait until they're at their lowest of the lows. Oh, my woman, she broke up with me, and they start...
I was, like, again... just making shit up. My biceps are 18.5 inches.
Crying and they're sad. She did you a favor.
And once they realize, like, okay, things are locked in, they get very complacent, and I think that's part of why the relationship kind of failed.
Yeah, it's called honeypotting, and this is why you don't just get married in a year. Like, why are you in such a rush?
We didn't get married in a year.
Rush to get on with the rest.
I think it was, I think we were dating for 2 years. So, part of that time was online, part of that time was living together, but it was over the course of 2 years.
Rest of your life.
So again, thank you for making shit up, Greg.
There's going to be plenty of times with your woman. You don't need to get married in 1 year. You shouldn't be moving together in 1 year. You shouldn't be married in 1 year. You shouldn't be committing in the first year. Like, you need...
Well, good, because I didn't do that.
to work things out to see, is that the person that's truly meant to be? Because how is it working for society just far? 50 to 60% divorce rate. And so whatever people are doing right now, it clearly isn't working. People change. And so go out with that person, date them for long enough to see them change. And if they change and for the better, then, well, then wife them up. But not before you really get to know them and whatever promises they make you right now. Remember, all's fair in love and war, and as soon as you're...
So again, I can do the same thing. You know, Greg, you probably shouldn't pay a prostitute to hang out with you. Like, I know you're lonely because you're short and no women want to hang around like a fucking, 5 foot tall fucking Oompa Loompa midget. But, this prostitute is probably like also fucking other dudes and she might give you AIDS. So, like, maybe you should actually try to find a real girlfriend. Maybe, like, try dating a dwarf or something. Because, like, if somebody actually has dwarfism and they're 3 feet tall, they'll think, like, you're tall, and normal people are, like, too tall for them. So, just date a midget rather than pay a prostitute. Like, I can make up stupid fucking horseshit nonsense, too.
Married to that person, and you make a lot of money, there's a 50-50 chance that they're going to take half of it after the divorce. Be careful.
Yeah, men should not get married, ever, under any circumstances. I agree. It was stupid for me to ever have gotten married, but luckily for me, I haven't had to pay her a dime.
I warned you. Get the prenup. And if they say no, say 30% in.
Prenups do not protect you in the way you think they do. Don't even bother getting married in the first place.
Increased chance of staying together if you sign a prenup. And so if you don't sign a prenup, that's basically telling me you don't actually want to stay married.
What? Yeah, so don't get married and have your partner sign a cohabitation agreement.
How are you, VG?
I'm fine. Thanks for the donation, Nut Muffin. So there's common law marriages. It's the stupidest fucking concept. So even if you don't get married, it's still technically considered a marriage if I think you're living together for a certain amount of time. In some circumstances, it can be a really short period of time. I think some countries, it's like 2 or 3 years. I think in Canada it's 5 years where it's considered a common law marriage. But if you're gonna have a girlfriend move in, have them sign a cohabitation agreement where if you break up, she owns none of your like property, doesn't own any of your shit. She needs to leave as soon as the breakup happens, because there's these stupid common law relationship laws that are fucking retarded. So don't get married and have them sign a cohabitation agreement. But again, I got lucky. Part of it isn't luck, like we didn't have children. In Canada, your spouse isn't just per se entitled to any of your assets or anything. In the case of a divorce, that has to be actually proven in court. If you have children, it's a different story. You automatically get granted money by the court for child support payments, but if you've never had kids and it's a divorce, that has to actually be settled in court. And again, I haven't had to pay anything.
Can you open Discord for debates? 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 Don't say no one will debate you or only troll you. I want.
No, we're not going to be doing that. People are just going to waste my time. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Why were you in a long distance relationship?
Well, I actually am diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder, so there's very few people that... Okay, great.
Foreign woman being painful. Like, so she would often complain about just getting stretched out a fair bit.
Did bro just say he's packing? That's all that I got out of that. Bro is packing. It was enjoyable for him, but it is stretching her out a little bit further than last time, a little bit too painful.
Well, I actually just started taking steroids 5 days ago, but I've been natural for my whole life.
Trying to get the...
So I don't know if his editor bothered looking into this. So he knows when I started taking steroids. Like, that's the only way he could have had, like, he has the video clip. So I don't know if Greg filmed this video and his editor added this in afterwards. But if Greg knew about this, then he's just deliberately lying here. Because, again, all the video footage, all the images he showed of me in this video are of me natural.
Then why are they automatically granted that here in America?
They're not. Well, maybe if you're in Florida. I don't know. But thanks for the donation, Dodo. I think it varies from state to state.
Muscles to match out the downstairs. Bro's packing everywhere now. And so vegangains, who's now 34, admits to taking testosterone, which is, of course, a performance-enhancing drug. It's a steroid. But he's 34, and he's trained his entire life. And so of all the people, if you had to line them up and say, is this a good candidate? Is that a bad candidate? Who do you think should take it? This would be about as high as you could get. He's trained natural for over a dozen years. He's in his 30s. He's obviously...
I'd say I started weight training seriously when I was 16. I first started when I was 15, but like seriously training when I was 16, and I'm 34 now. So what would that be? 18 years?
Past 25, his brain is finished developing, and so he's had plenty of time to think about what he wants in life. And so if he wants to do it, he's not breaking any laws. I'm thinking, hey, that's his choice, and he can go do it.
You know, well, what the fuck does the law matter? So, laws are like, so many laws are just fucking stupid. Like, look at all the marijuana laws. You know, in Canada, weed was illegal. The police were locking people up for smoking weed for no fucking reason. Well, look what happened. The government decided, oh, that's a stupid idea, and they legalized marijuana, and now there's fucking marijuana shops. Like, they're probably more common than fucking liquor stores now. So, like, what the fuck does the law matter? It's stupid. If you want to take steroids, take fucking steroids. Who cares about the fucking law? Like, you can make your own decisions. It's your body. You're not harming anyone. It's just dumb. Like, if alcohol is legal, if the government's fine with you destroying your fucking liver, giving yourself fucking cancer, giving yourself hypogonadism, shrinking your brain, and increasing your risk of age-related cognitive decline, Alzheimer's, dementia, all that's fine. You don't need a fucking prescription for alcohol. Then why do they have an issue with you taking steroids? So a drug that makes you fat, sick, and stupid is totally fine, but a drug that makes you bigger and stronger, that's not okay. So fuck the law. Like, the government doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. Dodo, donate $2. When's the next fitness expo? Would love to see you go up to these clowns in person, tower over them, and record it. Of course, just like last time many years ago. Greg, if you're watching, fight VG in a cage or a meetup so he can mog you. There used to be the Toronto Fitness Expo. They kind of got rid of that. I think partly that might have had something to do, like, related to COVID. I don't know if they're going to start it up again. Other than that, I might have to go to, like, the LA Fit Expo or something. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo. I've pretty much gotten to damn near the peak of what I think I can achieve naturally.
And so he's like, look, I reached my natural genetic potential, which I do believe for most men, it's going to happen in their early 30s. Perhaps a little bit later if you're not trying scientific.
You're probably going to, like, assuming you can avoid injuries and health issues, Most men are going to peak around 40, 45. So I could have just kept training naturally, and then by the time I'm about 40, 45, that's when I would have actually peaked, but it's just stupid to stay natural.
You've been slacking, or you didn't get into it as early as I did. For
like, why is he showing clips, like a clip of me from, like, again, this is over a decade ago?
example, I started when I was 10. If you start training at 30, I think you could improve until perhaps you're in your 40s. Now, one thing I would have suggested is you would have started with Turk Builder Max before using testosterone.
Oh my fucking God. So let's see. I gained 17 pounds in 2 months, and that's 17 solid ass pounds. I lost body fat, and I still added 17 pounds. So, basically gained 20 pounds of muscle mass. So I was in a deficit over this period. I was only eating about 2,300 calories per day, and I still gained about 20 pounds. So, do you think I would have made progress like this if I tried Turk Builder, Greg? Has anybody who took Turk Builder Max gained that much weight in lean body mass in only 2 months? So, yeah, I think I made the right choice by not wasting my time with your stupid garbage, worthless fucking supplement. Seems like testosterone and growth hormone work better than your fucking Turk Builder supplement, jackass.
Why not do everything in your power to be natural and get all the gains first from leveraging things that are natty? Now, it is on WADA's watch list, but it's not.
Why is testosterone natural, but testosterone is not natural? So, bioidentical hormones, not natty, weird plant extract that only grows in one region of the world, natural. It's just, it's just some stupid arbitrary standard. Nobody fucking cares. I don't give a shit. Cockwind Turbulence donated $2. Check out these gas masks. What's your opinion on what is going on in Portland, Oregon? There are riots and everything. I have no idea. Okay. So I can tell you right now, the amount of retirees that you see, these people are getting paid by George Soros or the Chinese Communist Party. So there's way too many elderly people in this crowd. So these are paid protesters. Yeah, these people are just paid to be there. Whatever. Thanks for the donation, Cockwind Turbulence.
Not ban, it's not unhealthy, it's safe, and if you enter code Greg, you'll get 15% off. And remember, money back guaranteed, $20 gift card. So if it doesn't work, you get all of your money back, and so you can try it risk-free at no cost to you.
We got, the craziest situations going on, steroid allegations out the wazoo, and they're usually valid.
How is Hussein Farhad and myself included in this video about vegan gains? Like, how do we get all this exposure? I mean, how is that orchestrated? Like, why are so many people talking about Coach Greg and Hussein Farhad as if Hussein's a fake natty? With no proof, he just yap a lot, but remember...
The Chinese Communist Party must die.
Yeah. I don't think they're going away anytime soon, though. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
He's been vindicated. The lie detector test, it's proving it. I mean, there is a 1 in a million chance that he would have lied and gotten away with it.
So again, all this video footage he's showing is me natural.
On this test, but It's very, very slim. Now, add to that the fact that he's passed the blood work 4 times now, and it is at his best. And where people's number one argument was that he made all the gains in the first 16 or 18 months, he's since then gotten 20 pounds bigger. I mean, I'm hoping the editors can show this photo. Hussein Farhat after 16 to 18 months of training, and Hussein Farhat now. Do you see the difference? Because I do. I think it sticks out like a sore thumb. There's so much.
Like, literally different clothing, different lighting, different angle.
Muscle size increase. But hey, if you don't think Hussein's any bigger in the last 2 years, then I digress. And so notice his arms. I mean,
yeah, so this is when I was natural. My biceps measured at 18 inches here. They're now 18 and a half.
They're fantastic. He has amazing looking arms now. Back in the day, they were just fat, but he looks significantly better now that he's leaner. Now, obviously, the steroids are going to make it easier.
I was not on steroids during that time.
For him to keep.
And again, I think Greg knows this. This is very suspicious that he literally showed a video clip where I explained when I started going on steroids, and then he's choosing to select footage of me natural. I think this might be something to do with his Turk Builder supplement, because if he shows the difference that I'm, like, the change in my physique, you know, being on steroids, but then recommends Turk Builder, he's gonna look fucking silly, right?
Keep more muscle, a lower body fat percentage, but it isn't healthy. But
so, again, that's me natural.
At least he waited until he was older. If everyone waited until they were in their 30s to start using performance-enhancing drugs, I really don't think there would be a major problem. Now, just to put out there, if you smoke cigarettes or if you drink alcohol, you realize that those are guaranteed carcinogenic. And what does that mean? They can cause cancer. Those things are worse for your body than steroids. And so even though Vegan Gains is on steroids, if you drink alcohol or smoke cigarettes and you're pointing the finger and saying, I can't believe you did that, you're worse. And so point the finger back at yourself and tell yourself, I need to stop drinking alcohol. I need to stop smoking cigarettes because it isn't healthy. Now, we all have our vices. We all do our things, but less is more. And so the less cigarette smoking and the less alcohol you can drink, the better.
And I mean, it's no faults of their own, right? Like, whenever anything bad happens in life, I think men have a tendency to just really push away and try to, you know, start anew in some capacity.
And so,
like, again, this is just so fucking stupid. I was training and dieting when I was with Jasmine, and nothing changed.
Of course, I do get it. You get broken up, you have a relationship, and you got fired from work, and you think, yeah, now is the time to really lock in. This was the motivation that I needed. I get that, but I really don't think that you need it. Yeah, you're single now, your woman isn't there for you, and so go take your aggression out on the bike or on the weights or on the sport that you're after, or start studying harder than ever before. But why can't you do it before it's too late? Maybe if
Well, like, this is just so retarded.
you had done those things before the breakup, they would have wanted to stay with you. A lot of times this is what happens. Men, when they get in a relationship, they lose themselves for the other person. They're thinking, you know, I want to be a nice guy. I'm going to cancel my workout tonight because I want to cuddle with you. Do you just hear that sentence? You're canceling your workout to cuddle. Are you gay? Like, what is that?
Where is he getting this from? Like one of the things that started fights with Jasmine and I was that she'd always complain that I'm working out too much. Like, I'd be working out for, 2 or 3 hours, and then she's like, aren't you done working out? I want to spend time with you. And then I'd tell her I have to finish working out. And then she'd just keep starting a fucking fight with me, and it would go on and on. Like, she'd fight with me for like 20 or 30 minutes straight while I'm fucking training. It was insane. Like, where is this coming from? He's acting as if, like, I said this.
Really think about it. Like, ask yourself, are you gay? You know, not that there's anything wrong with it. You can be gay. There's nothing wrong with cuddling. But if you're a man and you enjoy women, why wouldn't you go to the weights and enjoy that first? And you can cuddle after. I'm not saying don't cuddle, but you don't replace working out, doing something.
What does this have to do with me?
Something hard with getting hard with your lady. That is for after. And if you start canceling on these things that make you who you are, she's slowly going to lose respect for you. Oh, I control this man. Anytime I snap my fingers and I want him to take me to whatever country or vacation or cruise or restaurant, then he's just going to do it. Hey, honey, can you skip workout today so that we can go to the movies? Sure, babe. What is wrong?
What does this have to do with me?
With you? If you do that, it's a slow and steady end to when you're single once again. I mean, it's crazy. He has a small...
Again, this is video footage of me natural. So, for comparison, this is me enhanced. This was on September 22nd, so that would have been 52 days in. So, there's natural, there's enhanced. You can see a bit of a fucking difference. Natural, enhanced, natural, enhanced, natural, enhanced. So, yeah, there's a bit of a fucking difference there. So, I think Greg is doing this intentionally. He's not showing any, like, before and afters. Because, again, he's gonna look really fucking silly and stupid showing the physique change. And then saying, oh, you should have taken turkesterone first. Like, yeah, as if I would take turkesterone first.
Always, he has wide shoulders, he has a V-taper, great-looking arms, front to back. He has a 99-point-something percentile physique. The problem is what's in his brain. We all know that it's what's on the inside that counts. And so just like having an amazing-looking Ferrari, Lamborghini, and so on, hey, the outside looks great, but if you open the door and it smells like rotten eggs, are you really going to want to get in it? And so, same is with vegan gains. He might look amazing, have amazing physique, but when you start talking to him and hear the things that he's saying, you're like, yeah, I don't want any part of that.
You literally brought up video clips from over a decade ago, and then you're acting as if that in any way reflects my mindset or behavior today. So, Greg was arrested and prosecuted for smuggling drugs across the Canadian border. You know, I don't think anybody should hang around Greg because he's a criminal who's a drug trafficker, and he probably worked with a bunch of gang members who may have shot and killed people. Like, that's what drug dealers do. So even though this happened like a decade ago, don't date Greg, don't be around him, don't let your kids be around him. If you ever see him at a fitness expo, make sure to keep your kids away because this guy's a drug dealer and he's dangerous. Like this is how, this is the same ridiculous, stupid argument. Like again, things that I said or did like a decade ago, I don't know how that in any way reflects, you know, what I'm like today. Greg Doucette donated $2. Where did you get your steroids from, your source? Like, I'm gonna tell you that on fucking YouTube, dumbass. Thanks for the donation.
Dipshit isn't in the dictionary. What is your personal definition of a dipshit?
Greg. Greg's my definition of a dipshit. Thanks for the donation, dipshit.
But more importantly, we've covered many stories on this channel about people losing their minds when steroids become involved.
And so he shows a clip of bro giving Jeff Nippert a punch to the throat, a neck punch, if you will, a throat goat punch.
What in the fuck do steroids have to do with, what's his name, Mike Van Wyck attacking Jeff Nippert?
And Jeff gets knocked.
Like, so if you look at the amount of, like, violent assaults that are committed, how many of those assaults are related to steroids? Probably, like, close to zero, maybe some of them, but they're few and far between. How many violent assaults are related to alcohol use? Like, you will see far more violence being committed that is directly related to the use of alcohol versus the use of steroids. So how many people go out drinking on the weekends? Like practically everybody. So is everyone like some violent felon who like beats people up at bars and goes home, gets drunk, and beats up their girlfriend? Like, it's retarded.
To the floor. Now, he's saying that steroids do this. I do believe that that's partially true. I think that steroids can make you more aggressive. And so if you are an aggressive person by nature...
Saying steroids make you like aggressive is like saying drugs make you crazy. What drugs? What steroids? So if you're on something like Trenbolone, like, yeah, you can make a much more plausible case that Trenbolone makes you aggressive. If you're only taking testosterone, why would you assume testosterone makes you more aggressive? If anything, I've become less aggressive, like less angry, and I have more stable mood since I've been on testosterone. It's the same with saying, oh, drugs make you go crazy. Have you seen like the fentanyl addicts on the street? You know, who go fucking nuts and like turn into zombies and do the weird side lean thing? It's like, okay, well, there's a difference between fentanyl or cocaine or heroin or crack and like blood pressure medication. Like it's just like, it's so stupid. Like, and Greg should know, like, he knows better. He's been on steroids for I don't know how fucking long, like over a decade now. Like, and he's still on TRT. He's still taking testosterone. Are you like an angry, violent person, Greg, since you're taking testosterone? Like, it's fucking retarded. He knows better, and he's making shit up so that he can, you know, sell this narrative that, oh, vegangains is going to go crazy now that he's on steroids. He knows better. He knows that's all bullshit. He's just making this up so that he can make a video that he think will get more views.
Please watch and react. Rimjob emoji, Ostim Spectrum emoji, Chatterbait emoji, Richard OnlyFans emoji, Retarded Democrat emoji.
Like, why do they think it's an alien?
But why does he always talk about this like it's so real? I gotta say, decent argument this guy's CIA. Decent argument that he's CIA. Or at the least he's getting...
Right, so he was being sarcastic about Joe Rogan being the best source of information on the internet, but he's not being sarcastic about Joe Rogan being CIA. Holy fuck, you dumb motherfucker.
Yeah, he kind of just makes shit up. What's It Gets It is one of the biggest liars on the planet. He's not even a flat earther. It's just a grift. Thanks for the donation, fucking retard.
You gonna play the new Silent Hill game? Have you played the other ones? You should play it.
Yeah, I'm gonna play it eventually. I played the Silent Hill 2 remake. It was complete and utter fucking garbage. That was one of the worst games I've ever played in my life. But yeah, I'll play the new Silent Hill eventually. Thanks for the donation, retard. Probably this month. Dodo donated $2. What does it mean they say your brain stops developing when you're 25? Is that really true? Or what is it meant by developing? Because that doesn't make sense to me. Also react. Your brain doesn't technically stop developing. I think brain mass peaks, I think, around your early to mid-20s. And then your brain constantly goes through changes as you age, but I'm pretty sure your brain volume peaks around your early 20s, or like some of the major structures fully form. So some of the stuff like in your frontal lobe, like that, like your frontal lobe is responsible for like self-control, discipline, stuff like that. That doesn't end up fully forming until your early to mid-20s. But again, your brain is constantly going through changes. So depending on your lifestyle and like your habits, you're still going to undergo brain changes. But I think that's what they mean.
I'm going to challenge Turning Point USA executives to issue a very clean statement saying that I am lying if this is not true. About 48 hours before Charlie Kirk died, Charlie informed people at Turning Point, as well as Jewish donors and a rabbi, that he had no choice but to abandon the pro-Israel cause outright. Okay? Charlie was done. He said it.
Okay, so she's blaming Jews for killing Charlie. Yeah, we get it.
Get out the fucking elevator!
They're probably just acting like babies so they can sue, but yeah, that's retarded. Apparently ICE agents are a lot of fucking cunts. Thanks for that donation, Dodo.
Have you ever gotten your ass whooped while taking a shit?
No, I have not. That's not nice. Why are those kitties being so mean? Such a mean kitty. My goodness. Why is he chewing on his tail? That's weird. Thanks for the donation, Killing Titan.
Oh my dearest Richard. Greg has absolute destroyed you in this video. You will never recover. Your precious little Harry Potter left you because they could smell your low testosterone. Now you're on gear. So sad. Turk builder from Uzbekistan works BTW.
That's great. Thanks for the donation.
Hopefully she is kicked off of YouTube soon.
It's kind of insane how she hasn't been kicked off, but I got kicked off first. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. Dodo, $22, can you report Greg's video since the editor wrote that you should jump off a roof and called you a retard in the middle of the video? You saw that, right? TOS violation. They're the type of women I showed you the other day. These are all unemployed losers that are getting paid by, like, Iran or China to do this stupid shit. But yeah, hopefully their boat sinks. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. I didn't catch that. Where did he tell me to jump off a roof? Dude, the comment section is fucking insane. I don't know if it's like this video in particular, but there's so much retarded, unhinged shit in his comment section. I was going through it earlier. I don't think he's really doing anything to police his comments, but there's a lot of people saying they're like, they want to shoot me in the face and shit. Like, it was like, some of it was actually unhinged.
And you take steroids.
But thanks for the donation, Dodo. What's the timestamp where he said that?
It can make you more aggressive than last time, but I don't think it's a cope. Like, you can't just say, oh, I was on steroids and so that's why I did it and it has to happen. You can control your actions. And so just because you're on steroids, you don't let it get the best of you.
Using neural imaging, evidence supports that chronic AAS exposure is linked to structural and functional changes within the brain that are permanent architectural changes.
And so a lot of people, when they report...
So when somebody says this, it means absolutely nothing. Being male or female will cause permanent structural changes in your brain. Does that mean being born female makes you a fucking unhinged crazy person, or being born male makes you an unhinged crazy person because, well, your brain is structurally different than a female or a male? So, like, your own body produces hormones, and these hormones affect your brain development. Like, there's a reason why, like, women have lower reaction times compared to men. There's a reason why there's behavioral differences between women and men. There's a reason why they have different, like, life preferences. Like, there's different hobbies that men and women enjoy. Like, these are all due to physical changes that occur in the brain, partly due to the exposure of different hormones. So are women just fucking crazy and insane, or are men crazy and insane because they have, like, different brains, and the testosterone and the estrogen and progesterone and all these other hormones affect your brain structure? Like, it doesn't mean anything. So when somebody says, oh, steroid use changes your brain, well, okay, is that good or bad? Like, what does it do? So it, like, the research on this is very clear. One of the first use, I think the first use of testosterone was to treat depression. That was the first clinical use of testosterone, to treat men that were suffering from melancholia. I think the Germans first used it for people working on submarines. So submarine operators, they have to be underwater, isolated in a cramped space for very prolonged periods of time. A lot of those dudes got depressed, and they gave them testosterone because it improves your mood. And it seems to be dose dependent. So it's a linear dose response. The more testosterone you give a man, the better they feel. It makes you feel more confident, more calm, more focused. You just feel happier. So, like, if some of those changes in your brain, you know, which are supposedly permanent, lead to more energy, more focus, more confidence, like more happiness, better feelings, why is that a problem? So why are you even bringing this up if you can't even point to this being a negative? Like, by the way, women are far more likely to suffer from depression and anxiety than men. There's probably a reason for that. It's probably in at least part related to them producing far less testosterone. So why is it considered a problem that, like, oh, you're artificially increasing your testosterone and that's changing your brain chemistry? And why is that an issue? It seems to be a positive. Dodo donated $2. Around the middle of the video, I think, when he mentioned Furious Pete, there was text on the screen, big letters saying, note from the editor, jump off roof, you're a retard, check that part. And report it for TOS violation, please. Fuck you, Greg, stop abusing animals, motherfucker. I don't know if I'm gonna bother reporting the video. 507. We're at 720 right now.
Hopes that he dies of cancer? Like, who?
Message from the editor, jump off roof, vegan retard. So they're moralizing about me wishing death upon somebody, and then they're literally telling me to kill myself. And they're saying this knowing that I've suffered from severe suicidal depression. Okay. So you know, it's a problem when I do it, but not a problem when they do it. All right, so this is just, yeah, they're just complete hypocrites. Thanks for pointing that out. I missed it. I'll be sure to mention that when I do the video response. Dodo donated $2. Let me see. Heartbroken to hear Dr. Jane Goodall's passing. She was a pioneer who researched advocacy, blah, 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 wisdom, blah, blah. Wasn't she like a scumbag vegetarian? She didn't even go vegan. HUD website now has the following message slot. The government shut down in red at the top of the page. Absolute violation of Hatch Act. Bars executive branch officials from engaging in political campaign activity while acting in their official capacity. U.S. Department, Housing and Urban Development. Radical left are going to shut down the government and inflict massive pain on the American people. Oh, jeez. Yeah, well, that's fucking insane. Again, nothing's gonna come of this. That's fucked. Greta's friends from the Gaza flotilla polluting the Mediterranean Sea with plastic oil a few hours ago. They hope that food in the plastic bottles will make its way ashore in Gaza. Fucking retarded.
Jeffrey's playing video games with his friends on Discord, and Jessica is scrolling on TikTok and masturbating. They both lack any successful habits. They show up late and they even forget to drink water. By the time they are 25 years old, Jeffrey and Jessica are fatter, poorer, and now they're complaining about the cost of living crisis. Adonis and Anastasia are the opposite. They put in the work. At 21 years old, Adonis was building up his family's business. Long hours with excellent skills. Adonis worked hard. He only took breaks to work out. And Anastasia was building up her own side hustle too. She started a hair brand. It started out like a hobby, and then she turned it into a purposeful side hustle where she helps other girls feel better and get healthier hair. They get married, yay! They have healthy children, yay! They literally...
Hamza is a fucktard. Trump is not gonna like hearing.
He is unwell. What are you... The president is unhinged. He is unwell. What are you doing? A lot of folks on your side are too. I don't control. Oh my God, please. That performance in front of the generals, that I didn't see it. Is so dangerous. You know I serve on foreign affairs and appropriations. This is a collision of those two things. Our allies are looking elsewhere. Our enemies are laughing. I just left you have a president who is you have a president who is unwell.
Yeah, well, he's probably gonna just have a stroke. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
You should seriously report Greg for letting his editor say that Fiji.
Well, you know what I'll do? I'll probably download the video. He might end up taking this down and re-uploading it, or editing that section out. Oh, motherfuck. Wait. Oh, good. All right. That is now downloading. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
And I thought Greta cared about the environment.
No, it's just a grift. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Why did you time me out? You know I don't believe any of the shit I say. I was just trying to make you feel bad about yourself. That's all. Also, Greg is bigger than you. has a larger cock too.
Well, I pretty sure I know what this outline is, and assuming he's not hiding, I don't know, a little pickle there, I would say with certainty he does not have a larger cock than me. So, you can take a look at my OnlyFans, judge for yourself, but I can say with certainty he does not have a larger cock than me. Thanks for the donation though, Soy Boy.
A lot of people, when they report the negative side effects of steroids, it's things like gyno and acne and hair loss and shrunken testicles, becoming infertile, strokes, diabetes, heart attacks, and so on. But they don't talk about the mental. And I do believe that these articles are becoming more and more prevalent with each passing year. And so, guys and girls, if you are on steroids, really be careful about what's happening to you cognitively. Do you think differently? Do you feel differently? Because these are drugs. You might not think that they're a drug. Just because you're not sniffing creatine doesn't mean that it isn't a drug. It can, in fact, change you in the same way that other drugs can change you. And so if you're using them, lowest dose that makes you happy, please be careful. And of course, you can go to Algo RX, you can get your blood work taken, and these doctors can go over your blood work and literally tell you exactly what's happening. I mean, what's the point of getting blood work if you don't understand the numbers? They can read the numbers, explain them.
Doctors are fucking idiots. You're the one who's in charge of your own health at the end of the day. It's your body at the end of the day, and why would you leave the responsibility of your health and well-being up to somebody else? You have no idea if that other person actually knows what the fuck they're talking about. So you can go to one doctor and they might be really smart, they might know what they're talking about. You can go to another doctor and they're a complete fucktard and they have no idea what they're fucking doing. That's why I didn't go down the TRT clinic route. There's a TRT clinic that I know of in Toronto that they help bodybuilders. I didn't end up going down that route for a variety of reasons. One, it's way more expensive. They charge you up the ass and it's stupid. Secondly, why would I pay a doctor when I could do as good, if not a better job? I'm smart. I can do my own research. So if you're stupid and lazy, you might have to rely on a doctor if you want to do some of the stuff safely, but you're better off just, again, doing your own research, sourcing stuff yourself. It's cheaper and probably safer than relying on some idiot doctor. Portland Autist donated $2. They literally went and firebombed Ice Cube's bus in Portland. Well, look at this shit. Age restricted. Can't see that. I heard about them lighting shit on fire. ICE is a bunch of assholes, to be fair. Like, they do seem like crazy psychotic dickheads, and Trump is definitely weaponizing ICE to do illegal shit. So I can understand some of the frustration from some of these protesters, but at the same time, I don't know what that actually accomplishes, and a lot of these protesters are just paid, and they're also just crazy. Thanks for the donation, Portland Autist.
Prescribe prescription medications right to your door. No gatekeeping from your doctor. And so if you're interested in getting your blood work done and you need, for example, enclomiphene, Cialis, Ciadavil, telmisartan, or, for example, a semaglutide or tirzepatide to help you to lose weight, They can prescribe you actual medications legally right to your door at...
All of this shit is legal in Canada. So, you have no risk in Canada of getting the stuff through a UGL. You personally. The person selling might, but you don't. So if you live in Canada, this is not a concern.
Very, very cheap prices, about half from other HRT companies such as Merrick Health. And so if you're interested in going to AlgoRx, click the link in the description, code Greg, 10% off. So interested in Turk Builder Max? Amazing stuff, best tasting, the softest. You can try it risk-free.
Well, that was highly stupid. Let's see. There's some dumbasses that replied to my comment. Weren't you on TRT when you were natural? Better mental health, my ass, LMAO, you gonna get cooked in the long run for all that temporary gains. I don't know how steroids give you temporary gains when you keep taking them. Just eat meat and you'll have all those benefits. No need for roids, right? That's why you're bigger and stronger than me, right? Fucking pencil neck twink. You can get gains without meat. You obviously know nothing about nutrition. Okay, that's a base guy. You still have smaller quads than casual gym goers. I don't know what fucking gym he's going to, but I'm pretty sure I have bigger quads than casual lifters. These people are fucking stupid. Outrageously stupid. Richard's mom is so hot, donate $3.
First, effective immediately, the FDA will be notifying physicians that the use of well, let's see how we say that.
I've already seen that clip. No evidence whatsoever Tylenol causes autism.
Did I miss my 10-year anniversary of what, streaming? Oh, it was yesterday? Oh. Well, why didn't no one tell me yesterday? Okay, well, I've been streaming for 10 years now, guys. I guess.
Who in the fuck would date this creature?
A whole decade. Yeah, I started streaming when I was in high school, so yes, sir. Did I miss my...
Dude, the younger generation is just fucking cooked. This chick is just gross. Okay, well, if you're into anorexia, thanks for the donation, dude.
Tomorrow is rest day? But wait, you didn't work legs this week. Oh wait, that's right, leg day is your rest day. So does that mean you have 2 rest days per week? Yes bro, your quads and legs are tiny for a guy your size, Lamau.
Sure they are. Thanks for the donation, CDG. Nobody stands with Jew Reel. There's a lot of anti-Semitic comments in his comment section. For some reason, there's a ton of anti-Semites. Let's be honest, he'd been on steroids for years. Is it any surprise? Yeah, that's why I only just suddenly gained 20 pounds. A lot of dumbasses. Yeah, just a lot of dumbass. Fucking, like Greg's cultivated an audience of just, like, unhinged, deranged fucking children. That's why his editing is so, like, fucked and stupid now. So...
People like these in the comments make me lose what's left in my faith in humanity.
They should all be part of a eugenics program. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. All right, ask yourself. Tried to debate Stefan Molyneux.
Ask yourself. You might need to unmute, but you have been you've been chosen.
Oh, okay. All right. Loud and clear?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, we spoke last time. It was just about is and dot. I wasn't really persuaded that you had found a way to resolve the problem. I also am not sure that we think of the problem in the same way, though, so I suspect it could be semantic. I had asked you to sum up your view, but then my mic cut out. So I don't know if you want to repeat it, or if you want me to... Well, maybe it would be good for you to repeat it.
Well, I guess I can just... And I appreciate you calling back. I ask you the question, is a debate an is or an ought?
I'm not really sure how to answer that.
Well, a rock is an is, not an ought, right?
Well, I think that we say that a proposition would be...
No, hang on. Sorry, we can't stop by talking cross purposes, so you can reject my question, but please don't ignore it. Is a rock an is or an ought?
Well, I think the question's loaded. I don't think it's either. I think it's a noun. I think propositions
Well, no,
are...
okay, does a rock exist?
Sorry, I'm not trying to avoid your question. If you want to talk about the proposition a rock exists, that would be an is statement.
No, does a rock, do rocks exist?
I think so.
What do you mean you think so?
Are you stronger than Joe Rogan? Yeah, I'm stronger than a guy who's like 50 years old, 150 pounds, and is 5.5 feet tall and doesn't lift.
I don't understand. Sorry, what do you mean you think so? There's a whole field called geology. My father was a geologist. He studied rocks. What do you think, he was fantasizing?
No.
Okay, so do rocks exist?
I think so.
Okay, why don't you know?
I didn't say I don't know. I just think some of those terms like knowledge...
Richard's mom is hot, donated $2.
This is a huge deal. I'm so excited about this video. This is a 1989 Dodge Caravan, and it changed the world. This was the original
Dodge Caravans were cool.
minivan, the very first. And while the minivan isn't as popular today as it once was, it was everything and everywhere in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, and it all started right here. And this Dodge Caravan is especially cool because it has a manual transmission and turbocharged power. Right from the beginning, this was going to be revolutionary because the Caravan was built around Chrysler's K-Car platform. It was a compact front-wheel drive car, which would have been a big departure for most vans, which were usually trucky, big, body-on-frame, burly things. Not this. These vans were sold as the Dodge Caravan or as the Plymouth Voyager. They were big hits. The minivan had arrived, and it had arrived with a bang. This car was a miracle of packaging. This van was a foot shorter than a Ford Taurus mid-size sedan in the 1980s, but it had 3-row seating. It was completely impossible to comprehend from people in that era. 3-row vehicles before this were massive SUVs, big station wagons, and then this came out, small, compact, and yet there was all this space inside. It was a $325,000 for a Mustang? This is no ordinary Mustang. This is the new 2020.
There's no way I'd pay that much money for that car.
25 Ford Mustang
Like, you can get a Lamborghini Huracan.
GTD, and it's essentially a street-legal version of the Mustang GT3 race car with over 800 horsepower from a supercharged V8.
Yeah, I still don't know if that's worth that kind of money.
This is the most powerful, most expensive, most special Mustang ever made. There is a window in the interior, in the back, that is looking at the suspension, and you can watch it move while you drive around. So you literally watch the suspension articulate as you're driving. That is so amazingly cool. And if that's not crazy enough for you, how about the rear wing, which is mounted not on the trunk lid like every other car, but instead on the C-pillar next to the rear window with these giant wing mounts sticking out and going all the way back to the rear of the car and holding up this massive rear wing. It has hydraulically actuated flaps that move around and adjust their angles constantly when you're driving in order to provide the maximum amount of downforce in basically any situation. Holy crap, this thing is wide. These flared out front and rear fenders serve to give this car an unbelievable stance, and it gives it kind of a race car feel when you're taking a look.
$325,000 is just so fucking much money for something like that, though. It's a Mustang. That's the problem. It's hard to, like, just justify that when you can get a Lamborghini. You can even get some Ferraris.
React to this VG. It's bad news for trans people.
Let me see. Okay, well, I'll look at that later. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
We don't know. We'd have to unpack what we mean.
No, it's not unpacking. Does a rock exist?
I think so.
So you don't know?
It's going to depend how you use knowledge. That's a fraught philosophical concept. There's different notions of knowledge.
No, it's not. No, it's really not.
You don't think
they're a complex philosophical hang on, they're a complex physical concepts. But does a rock exist is not one of them.
You asked if I know that a rock exists. Knowledge is a complex philosophical concept.
Okay, let me ask you this. Did things exist before there was human consciousness?
I think so.
But you don't know.
I think we're going in a circle. What do you think I'm going to say to that?
Well, I think so is a statement of probability or possibility. It is not a statement of certainty.
But okay, but I've said the same thing a few times.
Sorry, let me ask you another question then. Do you think that I exist?
Okay, I'm happy to answer that, but I'm kind of worried you're going to ask me a lot of questions and then we're not going to get to the initial objection that I was sort of bringing up the last time that I came on.
No, I'm trying to establish whether anything exists outside of your consciousness.
But
because if I'm a fantasy of your consciousness, I'm not sure how we can have a debate if you're kind of arguing with a dream or some sort of avatar in a Matrix world or something like that. So I'm trying to understand if you accept that things exist outside of your consciousness.
Okay, we might have a bit of a fundamental disagreement because I think that's not really a fair approach, I guess. I want the initial thing that I came on to talk about.
Okay, so you don't know if rocks exist, but you think I'm being unfair. Do you think fairness is more complicated than rocks?
I think you're kind of going for cheap dunks. Like, would you be able to repeat what my initial criticism was, just to make it clear that you're actually engaging with it?
I'm sorry. So now you think that cheap dunks exist, but not rocks. Are you certain that it's cheap?
Jeez, what a dishonest fuckwit. Like, I think he smells that he can't actually make an argument, and he's just playing a stupid fucking game where he's just like dodging questions, changing the fucking topic, asking new questions to divert from the actual conversation.
Dunks, which is an evaluation of my, I guess, moral purpose in having the conversation.
Donate $2. Is this true, Mr. Burgess?
You probably dressed your kids this morning without...
I don't know. I don't know if, like, I'll watch that later. Thanks for the donation, Dota, or 2.
Conversation. So you're certain that I'm doing cheap dunks, but you're not certain that I exist.
I don't think that I said anything about certainty, but I think that
I've never watched the show The Office. I've seen clips of it, and it looks fucking stupid.
that you're kind of going to burn out the clock on this and hang up on me.
No, no, I'm asking, this is basic philosophical questions. Do you, because if you don't know that rocks exist, then you don't think that I exist, you're not certain that I exist, you're not certain that the microphone exists, you're not certain that your arm exists, like, well, that's a radical skepticism from which you can't build anything true.
If you want to, like, talk about, so firstly, I want my initial thing addressed. I think this is not my initial thing. I also don't mind talking about knowledge. Like, if you want my view, I'm a contextualist. You know what contextualism is?
I feel free to describe it. I'm sure I may know it by another name, but
yeah, which I'm not, sorry, just to be clear, I'm not trying to cheap dunk on you. I'm just trying to suggest I do have a view about knowledge. I have some idea, right? Yeah, so contextualism, basically, like, if you read the SEP entry on it, for anyone who wants to read more, there's these kind of problems that we get with knowledge. Like, people will want to say in different contexts that they know things that seem incompatible. Like, if you ask someone, do you know what you had for breakfast? Or do you know that a rock exists? I think that most people will want to say,
you're going to play Ghosts of Yotai? Well, it's coming out for PS5 initially. I don't have a PS5, and I'm probably not going to ever get one. If it comes out on PC, I might play it if it's good.
Yes, I know what I had for breakfast. Yes, I know that rocks exist. But then if you ask something like, do you know that you're not a brain in a vat? A lot of people will say, well, I'm not sure. But if you know a rock exists, you know you're not a brain in a vat. And if you don't know whether you're a brain in a vat, then you're not sure whether a rock exists. So contextualism sort of comes in.
You haven't made an argument, you haven't made an argument, you haven't made an argument, you haven't made an argument. Rocks don't exist. Check out my nigga the Kirkinator.
They fucked you up, my nigga. They might not be good at flying, but they're great at shooting. I'll tell you that.
What about the Epstein files?
We caught that nigga droid trying to flip them for a bag of Fent. As far as I know, they never existed. Get cleaned up, Pookie. You got a mission. Our intel says that Jimmy Kimmel is actually Bashar al-Assad undergone surgery with aim to destabilize our relationship with Israel. They've been pruning out their viewers for years, creating sleeper agents across the globe with one mission only: shoot niggas in the neck. They are planning to drop the activation phrase tonight. Godspeed, my nigga.
I ain't apologizing for shit, nigga. That nigga don't be putting in no work. Kirkinator ain't no Hitler. This Kirkinator.
Okay. Well, thanks for the donation, retard.
As a solution that says, okay, well, the problem here is that epistemic language is actually indexed to context, or at least could be indexed to context so as to make it make more sense. So the idea is epistemic context is some set of starting propositions, and to say you know something is to say that it's roughly that it's like validly deducible from the starting set under some relevant logic or something like that. So you might say
validly deducible from, you said, I didn't catch that, the start of something, or
from
validly deducible from.
So there is a bit of technical terminology there. So like the starting set, that's just the set of propositions that you're taking for granted in a given epistemic context. So you might have a mundane context like the rock or the breakfast conversation with your grandma, And in that kind of context, you get a ton of stuff in the starting set. You get like the uniformity of causation. You get that like other minds exist, that the external world exists, that science is reliable, sense perception is reliable. So if you have all that, it's fairly easy to deduce that, you know, a rock exists. But in a really skeptical context, you know, maybe you're talking to your philosophy professor, they would look at you like you're kind of silly if they said, hey, do you know whether you're a brain in a vat? And you said, well, of course I'm not a brain in a vat. I can see I'm not a brain in a vat, because it's kind of implicit in that conversation that we're not taking sense perception for granted.
You wouldn't just say, I can see that I'm not a brain in a vat.
Right now I'm just explaining what contextualism is, because you asked my view.
Okay.
So do we share an understanding of what it is? It's basically a semantic for epistemic language, where we say for any kind of knowledge statement, like I know X or X is justified, we say that we interpret that with respect to a context, and it's going to be justified in a given context, right? So a statement might be justified in a mundane context and not justified in a skeptical context. So it's a sort of relativistic, which you might not like about it.
Well, don't tell me what I do and don't like.
It was just a guess.
I'm not.
Wait, but I'm not projecting on you.
I'm talking.
But you said something about me. I'm not accusing you of that.
Which you might like. Hang on.
Yeah, which you might. I didn't say you did.
Okay, Stefan Molyneux's a narcissist.
So
I'm just diffusing it.
Like. No, hang on. But
you're being unfair. I'm not poisoning the well. I'm just saying that might be your view. It also might not be. I'm not trying to ascribe it to you. You're free to correct me.
Come on, man. Which you might not like is indicating that my response is based on some emotional preference, right?
No. You might have a view that's different. That is a reasonable view. I suspect you might not agree with that statement, but that's not to imply you might not agree because you're wrong or stupid. That's all I was correcting. You're free to go on. I just didn't want you to think I'm implying that.
You said no, but you should own what you said.
I own.
Right? You didn't say you might have an argument against that. You said you might not like it.
Okay, well, I'm happy to correct the language. You might disagree with that. Would that be more fair?
Okay. Well, that's fair, yeah.
Okay, sure.
And it's not an accident that you put it the other way. Okay, so
it also wasn't intentionally negative. I wasn't trying to be a dick or unfair.
All right. I can't read your intentions. I can only read your language.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that if you accept sense data and you accept empirical evidence and you accept reason, then you can say that a rock exists.
I'm saying that...
But if you don't accept those things, then you can't.
I'm saying that on contextualism, a knowledge statement, an epistemic statement, is going to be relative to a context. So in a mundane context, you might know something like that. In a skeptical context, you might not.
Now, do you think that mundane is a negative word or a neutral word or a positive word?
Neutral. It's just a matter of what kind of context we're in. It's fine to be in a mundane context when you're talking to everyday people, or even sometimes philosophically. But sometimes we want to, I don't know, sometimes we're in a skeptical context. I'm not shitting on one context or the other, though.
I mean, generally, people would say it's a negative word. I'm general.
I'm also happy to change that word. Just to be clear.
Okay. There seems to be a lot of almost like language program. I'm not saying it's coming from you. I'm just saying that there seems to be a lot of, like if somebody were to say, what do you think of this movie? And somebody were to say, oh, I thought it was pretty mundane. That would be a criticism, right?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I just want to say a general thing about our conversation, which is I think that I might use language in a way that makes you think that I'm saying something negative when that's not my intention. So if you think that I'm implying something, or maybe it's, I don't know. I'm happy to correct and change language to clarify any of that, because I'm really not trying to unfairly ascribe views to you or to like cast shade on your position or anything like that. It's just the way I say things.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if you are a radical skeptic, or let's say a foundational skeptic, because to me skepticism is a part of the bell curve. It's the Aristotelian mean. You don't want to take everything at face value. Neither do you want to be skeptical of everything. I view that as the Aristotelian, because skepticism is supposed to guide you towards the truth. And if you just believe everything, I'm not saying you, but if a person named Bob, let's say, if Bob just believes everything that he's told, then he can't get to the truth. However, if Bob doesn't believe anything that happens to him or comes in through the evidence of the senses, then Bob also cannot get to the truth. Now, of course, the purpose of philosophy is the study of wisdom. And so philosophy needs to establish truth. Because if you don't have the truth, you can't possibly be wise. If there's no such thing as truth, then there cannot be any such thing as wisdom. Would you agree with those broad strokes?
I'm not entirely sure. In all honesty, I would need to think about it. I'm happy for you to continue. I'm not trying to steal the reins here, but I just want to say one.
Hang on, but you've been studying this for a long time. Do you believe that truth is possible to achieve for the human mind, which would be an accurate statement of things as they are outside of consciousness? Like if I point at an oak tree and I say that's an oak tree, and let's say it is an oak tree, that would be a true statement. That's an oak tree. Do you believe that the human mind is capable of achieving truth?
I think that it's. I don't. You might not like my answer, which is not to imply anything about you.
Please don't do that. Please don't do that. We already went through this, bro. That is an insulting statement, so please avoid it.
What you might disagree? How do you want me to phrase it?
Well, just don't talk about what I like and I don't like.
Okay. Well, I'm not. Okay. I'm not trying to frustrate you.
Because the philosophy is not about what I like or I don't like.
Okay. You might not agree.
Oh my god, dude. Stefan Molyneux's a narcissist.
I'm still triggered by the start of the.
Don't talk about what I may or may not. Just give me your answer. You don't need to keep referencing my state of mind or feelings in order to provide an answer, right?
I'm triggered.
Okay, well, deal with your triggers, and let's just have the answer. Do you believe that the mind is capable of achieving truth?
I feel like I want to say what I actually care about, and if I can't, I don't know that I want to continue.
As far as I know, Greg does not live in Toronto.
Like, I want to talk about what look. There's two things, and I'm happy to have you continue with the truth line after if you want to. I feel like I'm being boxed in a way where I can't express what.
Isaac is not out of his depth here.
I actually.
Hey, a little late to the party, but I just watched you react to Greg's video. Just to be clear, your wife did leave you. She only wanted to stay to keep sucking off you and use you as a work donkey. So if you want a technicality cope, that's fine. Gymnastics.
I don't care. Thanks for the donation, dude.
Actually think. Two things. At the start of the conversation, you were asking me asking me things about what I think, as if there's very obvious answers, and I was a bit cagey about answering. But I hope you understand now that that's because I think there's nuance to these concepts like knowledge or truth, and I think that the answer to something like that is probably going to depend on how we mean those terms, and we'd have to hash that out. So that's one thing. I just want to flag that. And the other thing is that I don't really think that you've summarized or in any way actually dealt with my...
Dodo, donate $2. Patiently watch this video without excessive skips. Please, thanks. Alright, we can watch that later. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. We'll watch it after, this.
Initial problem on the is-ought gap. And I want to get around to that rather than what I kind of worry is going to happen, which is I think we're going to go down this road where I don't know if it's going to be about knowledge or what, but I think you're going to find somewhere where you disagree and then call me silly and then never talk about the is-ought thing, which is like I almost just want to reset to that topic.
Have I called you silly?
No, I'm making a prediction about what will happen. I could be wrong.
So that's also kind of insulting. Like you just can't stop it, right? You have this compulsion to be insulting.
Do you think I might believe what I'm saying?
I would just hang on. I would disagree with your argument. I would try and point out counter arguments. I would try and reason from first principles with reference to reason and evidence. But I have not called you silly. I would not call you silly. So saying that my response would be to call you silly is insulting.
I didn't say it.
Some nigger impersonated me. Obvious impersonator, since I didn't say the D or the J word. And I already donated tonight. Try harder next time, cunt. Including Richie's favorite names, and I will approve.
Alright, thanks for the donation, 21st.
Would be.
Any good porn finds lately? Nah, not really.
That I sort of have a fear that it's going to go in that direction and that we're not going to get to the topic that I originally came for. Do you think I'm being dishonest?
I think that you don't want to answer questions. No, because you asked me about the is-ought dichotomy, and I said, is a debate an is or an ought? And we couldn't get to that one, so then I wanted to go to something more basic, which is I need to define what is an is so that we can differentiate it from an ought. So I said, does a rock exist? And we couldn't get there. I couldn't get a straight answer from you or a clear answer on whether you think a rock exists. And then I said, do you think that things existed before human consciousness came along? Which is a statement of science, right? Science has decisively proven that things existed before human consciousness came along. We just look at carbon dating or the fact that life evolved over the last 4 billion years. The universe is 15 billion or so years old. So I'm just wondering if you accept science and reason and evidence, because if you don't accept science, reason, and evidence, I don't know how we can have a debate.
So you said I don't want to answer questions, and I would...
Arm blaster is... Oh, the... I don't think it matters. I don't think it does anything. I personally wouldn't bother getting one.
I don't think that you know what my concern is with the is-ought thing, and I just want you to understand what my concern is and then respond to my concern.
Yeah, but why would I have a conversation with someone who doesn't even know that things existed before human consciousness came along?
That's fair. Now, to be fair, if you just said, I don't want to address your concern for whatever reason, that would be okay, actually.
No. See, again, you're going back to some weird emotional thing. It's
I
not that I
so.
don't want to, it's impossible.
Okay, that's confusing to me. But let's look. I just want to reset, and I just want... Do you understand what my initial objection is, or my concern with the is-ought gap?
Do you mean from the last conversation?
Yes, yeah.
No, I don't have any memory what your general issue was. I have like 1,000 conversations a month, it feels like. So I don't have any memory of the conversation we had. I don't know, when was it? When did we last chat?
I don't know, maybe like a month ago. Basically,
yeah, so no.
This is it, though. And I'm happy to address your concerns around knowledge and stuff. I just am worried that we won't get to it, and I want to talk about the main thing before. Again, I'm not trying to project onto you. I do have. Look, I'm not gonna go on. The initial problem that I came for is just you think that you have resolved this problem, and I think maybe you have under some framing of that problem, but the way that I think about the problem and that you'll...
I didn't know Harry Potter was texting your mom after you tried to force her out. Was that the only time she ever texted your mom? You told me she only met your mom like once or twice, nigga. Also, why the fuck are you still married technically? Nigga.
Not sure if she texted my mom on other occasions. Thanks for the donation, the 21st.
We'll see it written about standardly in philosophy, like if you read the SEP entry, for instance, on Hume's moral philosophy, where it came from.
Yeah, I've done a whole show on David Hume, so yeah, I get it.
I wasn't implying you don't know about Hume, but I don't see how...
You said if you read or if you understand. So
sorry, to be clear, to be clear, the you there isn't necessarily direct at you. It's just if one reads and popping off. Can others hear me right now?
Hello.
Test.
Oh, what a shame.
Test?
I think we've lost him. Okay, so
I see.
What the fuck? He's lying.
See my speaker thing going off. Can others hear me?
Debate because you can't debate with people who don't accept that they're...
He's literally lying.
This objective truth.
Hello?
You can't debate with people who are going to deny the evidence of the senses because you have to debate using the evidence of...
Hello? Hello? Test. Oh, am I coming through? Test.
He's literally lying. 21st Only Tillers, why do you always have your hand on the mouse? Literally always. I can't donate as much because I know you'll skip since you're always ready to click. Skip N-word. How do you relax with your hand always on the mouse? Doesn't your arm get tired? No, my arm does not get tired. Thanks for the donation, 21st.
Test. Hello? The fuck? Did I get blocked? Frustrating. Oh, it's actually my internet. I seem to have lost Discord even. Where is my net? Like epistemology or something like that. And I worry that we're not going to get to the original objection. So the original objection that I actually came to talk about, which, by the way, he told me to follow up with him on email, and I have followed up twice, and he's never responded to that. So I don't know what's going on there. But the original objection is really just this. Like, he says that he has crossed the is-ought gap, and I don't think that he's thinking of the is-ought gap in the kind of way that philosophers are generally thinking about it. Like, if we look at, you know, here's the SEP article on Hume's moral philosophy, and we look up things like infer, like you see how we're getting lots of infer in here, is and ought, the is and ought section, infer, or like, you know, premise, right? Let's look for that word. Where's the is ought section? Is and ought, premise, right? The kind of thing that is being talked about is roughly whether you can validly deduce an ought statement from a set of purely is premises. And that's the thing that I haven't seen Stefan do, and that I doubt he can do. Now, I would be happy to either see him do that, or for us to just agree that he's addressing some other sense of the problem. And I think I have an old video with Alex Malpass as a PhD in philosophy where we go over this kind of aspect of his view. But yeah, that's really just the issue right there. I don't think that he has in any way solved this problem in the sense that philosophers are typically talking about it, which again is something like deriving an ought statement from purely is statements under some formal system, like propositional logic, first order logic, and that challenge is kind of open for him. So if he sees this, you know, I'm happy to have a proper conversation about this. Typically my internet is fine. Don't really know what's happening there. Can't say that I've had this happen on any platform other than X. I really don't know what's going on here. But yeah, I'd be happy to hash that out with him at the end. Again, the problem is just, can he give me a deductively valid argument with purely is premises and an ought conclusion? And there's some cheeky ways.
Moral realists are fucktards, dude. They're not even worth talking to
do that, like by explosion, but obviously that's not what's being talked about.
Elephants are my favorite, the largest and most awesome animals on the planet. Most importantly, full herbivore. I love them. Yeah, elephants are cool. Thoughts on peptide SLU PP332 for fat loss? I have no idea. Won't be able to tell you. Okay, this is fairly boring.
Creating more international laws by attacking the boats sailing towards Gaza as part of the global Sumud flotilla. Activists on board the flotilla have begun sending SOS messages.
Okay, that's terrible audio.
Thinking twice. But what if their favorite socks or underwear were actually messing with their hormones? Brands like Hanes and Adidas are using chemicals that are linked to infertility, cancer, and even early puberty. I'm Dr. Yvonne Burkhardt, and as a toxicologist, I've spent decades studying how everyday chemicals affect our health. And in this video, I'm breaking down the evidence from a toxicologist's point of view and showing safer swaps that won't break the bank. So you can protect your family without the panic and also stop letting everyday basics put your family's health at risk. Most people worry about pesticides in food or chemicals in skincare, but what about the clothes that are touching your body all day long? If underwear and socks sit against some of our most permeable and sensitive skin, this means that they can act as an entry point for toxins. Chemicals like BPA, PFAS, and formaldehyde don't just sit on the...
No one cares. Fucking gives a shit. Why are you sending me this fucking garbage?
I'm gonna miss you most of all, old flame hair and fire.
Oh, but why'd you have to... I know, but...
Do you remember 2008, where this seemed like a distant enough dystopia that producers at the BBC included such an emotionally raw scene in a show largely intended for young audiences? Wasn't that childish innocence nice? Because, make no mistake, that is where we currently are, both in the UK and the US, as we'll be discussing today. But first, a quick content warning for the following: transmisia, racism, anti-Semitism, Nazi fascism, the Holocaust, and self-harm. If our work has helped you, please consider supporting us via Patreon so I can keep the channel running. You can also help us by liking, commenting, and sharing our work on social media. Hi there, mine's Ethel Thurston, she, her, they, them, and we need to talk about what's happening in the US, specifically a bill over in Michigan, which threatens any website which knowingly hosts media containing any depiction or description of a trans person with up to 25 years in prison. This would harm the trans community in a way we haven't seen since the Nazis of Nazi Germany destroyed pretty much all existing research on trans people at the time, setting us up for extermination. Because how can the state be accused of committing genocide if the people they're killing don't exist? I know I've not really covered much US news recently. I've been so preoccupied dealing with everything happening in the UK, keeping in mind that the Lemkin Institute for Genocide Prevention and Human Security acknowledged that they, quote, see evidence of genocidal intent and actions targeting trans and intersex communities, end quote. That's where we're at on the home front. There are a lot more people covering the US than the UK, so
Yeah, that's insane. I don't know why the fuck people care about the whole trans thing so much. Somebody wants to live life as a dude or a chick, just leave them the fuck alone. Who fucking cares? Ugh. It's just so fucking bizarre to me.
in general, I decided to narrow my focus. But this is something that could have international consequences. I even saw a Hindustan Times article on this because even India has taken an interest in this particular case. But the story was brought to my attention by a 404 media article written by Samantha Cole, which is titled, Michigan Lawmakers Are Attempting to Ban Porn in...
Sid Donatillers, do you have advice for getting rid of constant negative thoughts? I often have the same repetitive thoughts. I also have OCD, but these thoughts don't go away by performing a compulsion. It takes practice, dude. It takes practice to learn how to just focus your mind and avoid these stupid recurring thoughts. So there's a lot of different strategies you can use. You can try things like meditation. I would look into Sam Harris. He has some guides on how to meditate. Also, if you just notice yourself having these recurring thoughts, you can just try to do some activities that divert your attention. Like jerking off to porn, playing video games that require a high degree of attention and focus. So like racing games would be an example. You can also just try to train yourself to think about positive things. So if you notice like negative thoughts popping up over and over again, just deliberately try to think of positive things. And they can be very simple. Like you're living in a house right now rather than being homeless. You have access to food and you're not starving. So you can play a game where you try to list, say, 50 things that are going well for you. And again, they can be very, very simple. So, and a lot of people also just don't exercise enough. You're much more prone to depression and anxiety if you're not regularly exercising. So if you can just lift weights or do some cardio and really train hard with very high intensity, that also helps massively. And again, it's another activity that requires a high degree of focus and concentration. But hope that helps. Thanks for the donation, Sid.
Entirely. The attempt in question centers on House Bill 4938.
Portland Cocktistic donated $2.
So let me get this straight. Ice Cube's tour bus.
Fucking nigger. Fuck you, nigger.
That's great.
Called the Anti-Corruption of Public Morals Act, presented by 5 Republican representatives, Josh Shriver.
How much would someone have to pay you for a one-on-one therapy session? How about $1 a minute?
Joseph Pavlov, Matthew Maddock, James Sasana, and Jennifer Wards. They claim that the bill would prohibit the distribution of what they label as, quote, material on the internet that corrupts the public morals, end quote. And yes, porn is on the list, by which I mean all porn, including vaginal intercourse between heterosexual people, and it also demands that sites take measures to actively block VPNs in an effort to put an end to said workarounds. And both of those are bad enough, don't get me wrong, but what's even more terrifying is how it then goes on to add a second banned category, namely, quote, a depiction, description, or simulation, whether real, animated, digitally generated, written, or auditory, that includes a disconnection between biology and gender by an individual of one biological sex, imitating, depicting, or representing
That sounds like a violation of the First Amendment.
himself or herself to be of the other biological sex by means of combination of attire, cosmetology, or prosthetics, or as having a reproductive nature contrary to the individual's biological sex. End quote. Emphasis added by me, and I added said emphasis to highlight that this doesn't merely apply to visual media, but also written media such as posts, comments, and blogs. This is, of course, one big Nazi dog whistle for trans people.
Yeah.
Now, there were 2 specific exemptions, which were, quote, material to be used for scientific and medical research, and instruction and peer-reviewed academic content, end quote. And that is it. Anything else is deemed material that corrupts public morals and will thus be banned in Michigan. To give an example, if I openly talked about my ongoing transition, that video
Yeah, that is a clear First Amendment violation.
would legally constitute material that corrupts public morals and thus be banned. That's how horrific and far-reaching this potentially is. But perhaps even more worrying than that is the part which reads, having a reproductive nature contrary to the individual's biological sex. I sat there for a while, trying to figure out what this was referring to, and all I could think of are trans bodies which have been altered either through HRT, as with a trans woman's breast, or surgery, as with a trans man's phalloplasty, making any media depicting a trans person's body illegal if they've undergone a medical transition. That's what this reads to me as saying, as a legal layperson, though maybe one of you could shed some light on that. Yet even if that isn't the case, simply banning depictions or descriptions of trans people in attire or makeup associated with their actual gender as opposed to their incorrectly assigned gender is still horrific enough. It effectively forces a trans person to choose between presenting authentically or psychological self-harm as a result of gender dysphoria. And I put self-harm in quotes here since it's the state that's forcing trans people to make such a horrific choice in the first place. And the horrors only continue as we move on to the punishment, namely how any site hosting trans depictions or descriptions would be charged with a felony, carrying with it a maximum fine of $100,000 or a sentence of 20 years in prison, though these numbers increase to a 125.
People get lighter sentences for raping children. So, I'm sorry, mentioning trans people exists is a worse offense than raping children. Okay, like, dude, Michigan Republicans are fucking out of their minds.
US dollar fine or 25 years in prison if they host more than 100 pieces of trans depictions or descriptions. That is a crushing punishment, particularly those prison sentences.
How close do you think you were to your genetic max out of 100 before steroids? Probably like 90, 95%.
And has one goal when it comes to trans people. Force all websites to remove any and all media depicting a trans person, sexual or not. Because how are sites in Michigan, such as YouTube, going to moderate this? They can't rely on tags because trans people don't always tag the facts that they're trans. Companies certainly aren't going to be willing to put up the funds or time to have someone go through every piece of media and manually review it, so that's out. The bill says AI, but gender-critical fascists have already tried that and kept getting false positives, something which would make sites such as YouTube unusable. Said sites could also withdraw from Michigan, abandoning the state entirely, though that seems unlikely. The fourth and final option, outside of overturning the bill, is barring trans people from their services altogether, closing down their accounts should they ever become noticeable. And that last one might sound extreme, to sacrifice an entire demographic for a single US state. But here's the thing. If said bill passes in Michigan, what's going to stop it from being copied and implemented in other states, and even countries? We saw just how quickly the ID age verification law spread state to state, and to Europe. The very same thing could happen here, something that would effectively block trans people across the US from the internet. GoFundMe campaign showing a photo of the trans person raising money to survive? Banned. YouTube channels like mine? Banned. Articles on local trans artists or politicians who happen to be on HRT? Banned. This is, just like the bathroom ban, an effort to completely exclude trans people from public life, this time, the internet. And whilst the porn aspect is important in how it paved the way for entire groups to be censored, this is full-on segregation. The fucking irony of which is, I actually had a video planned which was going to be a positive response to Catherine of Bridget Empire's video, The UK is outlawing trans people, talking about how, whilst the physical greenwoods might not exist anymore, we have the
OCD pins, pandas, donate $2 to the person that had OCD. I want to say, get yourself tested for a bacterial infection you might have. Look into pandas, because it caused my OCD. I had a Bartonella infection, and the symptoms went away when I began taking antibiotics. Test IgG levels too. That's weird. Didn't know bacterial infections could cause something like that. Thanks for the donation, though. Wasn't your FFMI like 23 before you started steroids, so you think you could have gotten to FFMI 25 naturally? Who knows? Baby. Let me see what it would be now. 6'3", 217. Nah, I'd say I'm about 10% body fat. It's saying I'm just below 24. So if I was 9%, it'd be a little over. I might be as low as 9. Not sure if I don't think I'm at 8, but I think I'm like right around 9 or 10. So I'm hovering around 24 right now.
The digital green.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think I'd reach a FFMI of 25 naturally. I think the FFMI calculator is bullshit, and however they're making the calculation, it biases shorter people to having a higher FFMI. Because I've seen like shorter people who don't look as muscular as me having a higher FFMI, so I think the FFMI calculation's stupid.
Words, the internet that offers trans people a place to gather and support one another, like folk heroes such as Robin Hood. I literally asked her if she'd be okay with me making said video, noting that the internet is how Bashback alerts people to their protest and DIY HRT is made accessible. And that's what this is attacking, our ability to gather, support, and organize. This is a Republican attempt to cut and burn the digital greenwoods. But it gets even worse than that since the internet has become the primary archive of our collective history and culture.
Jeff Nippard's FFMI is 25, yeah. I think the way they do the calculation, it just biases shorter people to have a higher FFMI.
All of that could potentially be lost if this bill passes, and similar bills spread to other states and countries. These are digital bonfires. destroying our records, our history, our very humanity. There is a public square in central Berlin called the Bibelplatz, and in that square you will find a glass panel in the ground, beneath which is a small room containing 4 bookcases, each one completely empty. This is an art piece, aptly named the Empty Library. It marks the spot where, on the 10th of May 1933, the Nazi German Student Association piled books up to burn in the very first major book burning carried out by the Nazis. And the very first books piled up for said burning were the ones which had been seized from the Magnus Hirschfeld Institute for Sexual Science 4 days prior. The institute was the first academic institution to not only study trans people as a natural phenomenon, treating them with respect.
Dodo Donatellos, does that woman not know you can wash your clothes to get rid of the formaldehyde and other chemicals? I don't think she knows much of anything. Thanks for the donation though, Dodo. Wanted to ask, how much test are you on per week? 400 milligrams? No. Up until September 24th, I was on 30 milligrams of test-cypionate per day, so that would be 210 per week. On the 24th, I switched to test enanthate. And then on the 27th, I upped the dose from 210 per week to, it would be now about 260 per week. So the test enanthate has a higher concentration. It's 250 per mil, whereas the test sip is 200 per mil. So I'm taking 0.15 mils test enanthate currently per day, which would equate to about 37.5 milligrams, and that works out to about 260. And I added in boldenone undeslinate. And the boldenone is dosed at 300 milligrams per mil, and I'm taking 0.1 mils, so I'm on 210 milligrams boldenone per week and about 260 milligrams of test enanthate per week. I'm guessing as the ester cleaves, I'm going to have to up the test dose because boldenone acts as an aromatase inhibitor. And typically people run boldenone with a 2-to-1 test boldenone ratio, so I might end up going to around 400 milligrams test per week. I have to see with my blood work though. So I'm going to do blood work at the end of the month and see where my test and E2 levels are at, and I'm also just tracking hematocrit. So that's what I'm on right now, but up until September 24th, I was just on 210 milligrams of test sip and 5 IU's growth hormone, but now it's 37.5 milligrams test, 30 milligrams boldenone, 5 IU's growth hormone. Soulchild donated $2. If Netanyahu said tomorrow that they're completely flattening every single building in Gaza until Hamas surrenders, would you support that? Yeah. And if they don't surrender, the entire strip is completely flattened. Then what? Doesn't solve anything. Yeah, sure it doesn't. Thanks for the donation.
Even coining the first medical term to describe us, the term which would evolve into transgender across
boldenone is 99% of the time sold with an undeslinate ester. Very rarely you'll come across boldenone with a cypionate ester, but it has horrific post-injection pain. So practically nobody uses it.
Across iterations, but offered early forms of both HRT and gender-affirming surgery. Actions which Nazi papers, such as their Struma, accuse the Institute's founder, Magnus Hirschfeld, a gay Jewish man, of promoting in an attempt to corrupt the morals of the German people, weakening them, making them more vulnerable to outside invaders. It was their research, their archives, and their libraries which provided the bulk of this initial book burning, erasing much of Western trans history up until that point. It took trans people almost 80 years to finally be recognized by the German state as...
Why did you pick boldenone instead of just upping your test dose more? Well, you can't just up your test dose. You're going to have to take an aromatase inhibitor at some point. And since Boldenone acts as an AI, then I can up the test dose. I don't really want to have to fuck with aromatase inhibitors. They're pretty hard to dose, and they have their own set of side effects, and they're not anabolic. So why would you use an aromatase inhibitor as an AI rather than just using another anabolic compound? So you can just have more anabolism, and you don't have some of the side effects of the aromatase inhibitors. On top of that, Boldenone, I chose Boldenone specifically too because it promotes collagen synthesis, so it strengthens your joints and tendons. And I have a lot of tendon issues from antibiotics that I was on. I was on fluoroquinolones for a E. coli infection in my knee, and it fucked up my tendons.
One of the groups singled out and targeted by the Nazis during the Holocaust. That was, in large part, a result.
How long until the Boldenone kicks in full steam? About... It really depends. The ester half-life is anywhere between 7 to 14 days. So typically it's not going to kick in until at least 2 months in, where you're at peak concentration, and it can be as long as 3 months.
Of our complete erasure. As I asked at the start, how can the state be accused of committing genocide if the people they're killing don't exist? Because how can you describe a trans person without describing someone who might dress in a way different to their incorrectly assigned gender or who has undergone a medical transition? You can't. So by limiting a person's ability to even define a trans person by touching on some common trans experiences, Michigan Republicans seek to prevent any and all discussion of trans people, at least outside peer-reviewed journals, which are paywalled and thus inaccessible to your average person. When I say what is happening is an encore of the Nazis of Nazi Germany, I am not being hyperbolic. We might not be at the point of camps for trans people yet, though the US is absolutely there when it comes to anyone who even looks foreign. But we're still being erased, boxed in, further and further isolated. This is a state preparing to deny the extermination part, once we've reached that stage, to once again erase us from discourse for another 80 years. Now, that's not to say that there's no workaround. If you're in Michigan, you can absolutely unleash hell upon the Republicans responsible for this bill. Again, their names are Josh Shriver.
How did you fight the water retention? I took test and my face looked pudgy as hell. Well, if you're not getting regular blood work and you're not tracking your estrogen and it's through the roof, you might have really severe water retention. And if you're not drinking enough water, that's also an issue too. I drink about 7 to 8 liters of water per day. So if you're not properly hydrating, you're just going to end up storing way too much water in your body.
Joseph Pavlov, Matthew Maddock, James Sassana, and Jennifer Ward.
And obviously, if you have a high sodium diet, you're not eating enough potassium, stuff like that.
You can also unleash hell on your state representative, William Patrick Huizenga. You can try appealing to his better nature, but he is a Republican, so I doubt he has one. I think making these shits as miserable as possible until they back down, escalating things if they don't, is going to be the way to beat this. I also noticed that the bill, when discussing exceptions at the start, on top of mentioning the law-specific exemptions, also included any, quote, material that at common law was not protected by adoption of the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States, respecting laws abridging freedom of press or of the press, end quote. The First Amendment is, of course, the one that declares, quote, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances, end quote. Which makes it sound to me that, so long as said depiction or description is presented as a political statement, even against this very bill, it should be protected. This situation reminds me of how free the nipple protesters are often
That is an insane situation.
Sup, chooms? How y'all living? Hope everything is Nova and you're all having a preem week. Okay, I know this is not a typical subject for this channel, but several people have asked me to do a video on the recent announcement by the Health and Human Services Chief RFK Jr. and President Trump on the subject of acetaminophen, also known as Tylenol. I was meaning to do this video a bit earlier, so I don't know if anyone remembers this story anymore, but I was busy, you know how it is. So, to refresh your memories if you have forgotten, the claim was made that if pregnant women take Tylenol, their babies are more likely to have autism. Now, I don't really have a dog in this fight. There are plenty of drugs that women should not take during pregnancy, including 5-AR blocking drugs like finasteride and dutasteride, as you all know I champion on this channel. In general, the fewer drugs pregnant women take, the better. On the other hand, Tylenol used to be about the only pain medication that doctors felt was relatively safe to use during pregnancy. Women can have many painful conditions during pregnancy, so if they can't take Tylenol, does that mean that there's really nothing at all they can take for the pain? Do they really have to just suck it up and deal with whatever painful condition they're experiencing, like morning sickness, migraine headaches, or chronic conditions like arthritis? Before people asked me about this, I had no idea what the evidence was linking Tylenol to autism, but I was still curious enough to do some research. I'm naturally very suspicious of RFK Jr. because he is not trained as a scientist, and he has a bunch of weird medical opinions like demonizing seed oils, being against all vaccines, downplaying the risk of raw milk despite a recent disease outbreak in Florida, and even promoting the carnivore diet as healthy.
How anabolic is boldenone? Is it equivalent to testosterone? Well, it's kind of debatable. It's anabolic to androgenic index is 100 to 50. Testosterone has an anabolic to androgenic index of 100 to 100. So in theory, it's about as anabolic as testosterone. Anecdotally, most people report it being like roughly 60 to 70% as anabolic. There's a lot of different things that can go into that, like obviously personal bias and perception. On top of that, it's an extremely long-acting ester. So a lot of people don't take it long enough to actually get the full benefit from it. So you're not going to get the full benefit from boldenone until you've taken it for at least 2 months, a lot of time 3 months for it to reach peak concentration. So right at the 2 to 3 month mark, that's when it starts like fully kicking in. So it's close to as anabolic as testosterone. A lot of people compare it to Primobolan, and again, people say the same thing about Primo. So, I think Primobolan has an anabolic rating of like 70 or something. So again, on paper, Primo's weaker than boldenone, but a lot of people say boldenone's about as strong as Primo.
All this leads me to believe that RFK Jr. isn't scientifically literate, because he sounds like a crunchy mom who gets health advice from Facebook memes rather than actual scientific research. But that isn't to suggest that RFK Jr. doesn't have some broken clock moments. He does have a few. He has promoted healthier school lunches for kids, and he has supported banning the use of food stamps to buy soft drinks, all of which I agree with 100%. So, full disclosure here, even though I may agree with him on 1 or 2 things, I despise RFK Jr., and I do hope that Trump fires him very soon. But this is a science-based YouTube channel, so I am not going to let my negative opinions towards RFK Jr. get in the way of taking an objective look at this Tylenol and autism data. I decided to look at all the evidence and analyze it for myself, just like I do for studies on hair loss treatments or any other subject I'm talking about on this channel. So first of all, autism is a relatively new diagnosis. Although it was first described back in the early part of the 20th century, it really didn't become a common diagnosis until the early 2000s. You can see in this Google Ngram, which looks at mentions of the word autism in books and articles, that the term really became widely used in the 2000s. I attended elementary school in the 1980s and high school in the 1990s, and I can tell you quite confidently that autism was almost never discussed at all. Like, if we were to ever hear someone talk about autism or even bring up the word, the common response would be, what is autism? Times have definitely changed though. It looks like the number of cases of autism has been increasing. In the year 2000, 1 out of 150 kids were diagnosed with autism, but by the year 2022, that frequency had increased to 1 out of 31 kids. Some of that increase is likely due to increased recognition of the condition, as well as more accurate diagnostic criteria for diagnosing autism. But even taking that all into account, it's still very disturbing that the number of cases has increased so much, and it makes people think that there are other factors going on to cause this increase in autism. Autism is thought to be mostly a genetic problem, and dozens of genes have been identified that may lead to autism. But it might not be entirely genetic. There may be environmental causes involved too. And of course, RFK Jr. has made a career out of blaming autism on vaccines, despite the
$2, if you were to buy these, would you buy up to 85, 105, or 125 pound pair? I'd get the 125 pound pair. $2,000. Like, the only real benefit with these is convenience. You can get a pair of Olympic dumbbell handles and just a set of Olympic weight plates, and that would like only cost you like a few $100. And if you already have the Olympic weight plates, that's not an additional expense. So the only benefit you really get from this is just convenience. You can just very quickly change the weight. This also has the drawback, too, of not being able to micro-load like you can with Olympic dumbbell handles. So with Olympic dumbbell handles, you can literally add in half-pound increments on each dumbbell, which is a huge advantage. So if you want the convenience, you know, these are probably the best dumbbell handle, like adjustable dumbbells on the market, but if you just want to save money and have something that's just as good, if not better in some contexts because of the micro-loading, just get a pair of Olympic dumbbell handles. Way, way cheaper. Like, yeah, you'd really only have to spend like maybe $300 or something, if that, on Olympic dumbbell handles with the weight plates. So way cheaper to get Olympic dumbbell handles. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo.
The fact that the paper that this was based on was found to be fraudulent and was later retracted. Did that make RFK Jr. change his opinion? No, of course not, because he's an agenda-driven ideologue who filters out any information that doesn't confirm his biases. So I'm sure that eventually we're going to see RFK Jr.'s hand-picked committee of anti-vaccine quacks claim yet again that vaccines cause autism. He'll probably also end up blaming seed oils too. But in the meantime, RFK Jr. and Trump recently did a joint news conference where they blamed autism on acetaminophen. Well, surprisingly, there actually is some data linking mothers taking Tylenol to their babies getting neurological problems like autism or ADHD. So these warnings from RFK Jr. are not completely without merit like his claims about vaccine. However, that's not to suggest that RFK Jr. is actually right here. No, he's completely wrong. The data on Tylenol and childhood autism turns out to be a classic example of a correlation fallacy, meaning although there is a correlation between Tylenol use and autism, this correlation does not mean Tylenol actually causes autism. First of all, here's a typical example of a study that at first glance seems to show that mothers taking Tylenol are more likely to have babies with autism. This is a meta-analysis of 7 different studies that included 132,738 mother and child pairs that were followed for a period of 3 to 11 years. The study found that the incidence of autism was 23% higher in the children of mothers who had taken Tylenol versus those who didn't. Here's another study that seems even more convincing. In the study, the blood from the umbilical cord at birth was analyzed for acetaminophen metabolites, and then the infants were followed up during childhood to see which ones developed neurological problems like ADHD or autism. There were 996 children in the study. The study found a positive association between the presence of acetaminophen metabolites in the umbilical cord blood and the development of both ADHD and autism spectrum disorder in these children. So these studies and some other studies that you'll find in the description below all look pretty convincing and make it look like mothers who take Tylenol are more likely to have autistic kids. So is RFK Jr. right after all? Well, RFK Jr. isn't actually capable of interpreting scientific research, and
I literally just explained why I took Boldenone.
neither are any of his staff. They have a political job, not a scientific one. So not surprisingly, he's completely wrong. We have newer data that RFK Jr. completely ignored that shows definitively that this association between maternal Tylenol use and autism does not mean that Tylenol causes autism, ADHD, or any other neurological problems in children. This study here is the most important study done on this question, and it was published just this year. RFK Jr. had access to it, but he ignored it because, again, he's driven by politics, not science. The study includes every single child born in Sweden between the years 1995 and 2019. That's possible because Sweden is a small country with a national healthcare service. So this study includes 2,489,721 children. The use of Tylenol during pregnancy was recorded in all the mothers, and as the children grew up, they were followed by the National Health Service and diagnosed with either autism, ADHD, or other intellectual disabilities by their doctors. So here's a flowchart of the study population. The researchers felt that the previous studies linking maternal Tylenol use to childhood autism might have been flawed. Specifically, they say, quote, confounding by indication may occur based on the reasons that acetaminophen was taken. For example, due to infection, fever, migraine, or pain from autoimmune disease. These indications for acetaminophen use may be risk factors for neurodevelopmental disorders and may thus result in spurious associations, unquote. In other words, the medical problems that women have that cause them to take Tylenol are the actual causes of autism, not the Tylenol itself. So to best assess this, the researchers looked at the siblings of each child because siblings have similar genetics, and so
why instead of things like Primo? Well, for one thing, Primobolan is 6 times as expensive as Boldenone. So from the supplier I get it from, it's $160 per vial. And it's a 10 mil vial dosed at 100 milligrams per mil. Boldenone is $80 for a 10 mil vial, and it's dosed at 300 milligrams per mil. So it's literally 6 times the price. Primo is also often out of stock because people buy it up. So I'm paying more for a drug, like 6 times more for a drug that I'm not sure if I'm even going to be able to have access to in the future. There may be a several month span where it's just out of stock. And on top of that, Primo is not as good at collagen synthesis. So, which is the main reason why I chose to take Boldenone. I want to help strengthen my joints and tendons. If I remember correctly, Primo increases collagen synthesis by like 180% when it's dosed at 5 milligrams per kilo, whereas Boldenone increases collagen synthesis by like 360% when it's dosed at 3 milligrams per kilo. So way, way better at collagen synthesis. And if you wanted the collagen synthesis of benefits of Primo, you're spending way, way, way more money. Ridiculous amounts more money. So, like, the only real risk for Boldenone is it stimulates EPO way more. So you do have to take you do have to control your hematocrit and red blood cell count.
Hi Richard. CDG here. I graduated from university with a degree in accounting. I have taken the exam to become a CPA 4 times now and I keep failing. My family is ashamed of me. I am not very smart. I am a failure. My peen is small too. This is CDG.
Alright, well maybe try transmaxing. Thanks for the donation, CDG. Yeah, so the only real risk with Boldenone is it does elevate hematocrit more than other steroids. But again, as long as you just control your hematocrit, it's not really an issue, and that problem is probably also overblown. A lot of people don't drink enough water, and if you're constantly dehydrated, yeah, your hematocrit's going to go out of control. There's also dietary considerations too. People who eat a lot of red meat may have that problem with their hematocrit more than like vegans, because they're consuming a fuck ton of heme iron, which will allow their body to produce more red blood cells when they're taking Boldenone. If you're not consuming heme iron, and you're taking Boldenone, well, then the stuff that's needed to produce those red blood cells just isn't there. So it probably is an overblown issue, and it's a combination of, dietary and, I don't know if water is a dietary factor, but it's probably a combination of like people just being dehydrated and eating too much red meat. Some people do report it has a side effect of triggering anxiety and depression. I haven't noticed that yet. It's only been about a week since I'm on it, but I have noticed that it has a calming effect, which I actually like. I just feel more chill and relaxed. When I inject it, feels similar to growth hormone, where when you inject growth hormone, it makes you feel really calm and relaxed. I get the same feeling, only without the sleepiness from injecting Boldenone. That might change as the ester cleaves and it reaches peak concentrations, but again, some of these issues with depression and anxiety, it's probably just related to people crashing their E2 levels, because Boldenone's a very potent AI. So if you can keep your estrogen within range, you probably won't have those issues with Boldenone. And Primo has its own side effects when it comes to mood. A lot of people report it causing anger and agitation. So it's not like, Primo's this perfect compound and you're not going to get any mental health sides from it. So you can pick your poison. You can choose between, anger, agitation, or like depression, anxiety, and roll the dice with which ones you want to risk. So it's like, So, yeah, on paper, Boldenone should be more anabolic. It absolutely does have better collagen synthesis benefits, so I just went with Boldenone for those reasons. 6 times cheaper, easier to source. Oh yeah, and Primobolan has pretty bad post-injection pain. A lot of people actually mix Primobolan with Boldenone to alleviate that post-injection pain. So cheaper, easier to source. Sources for it are reliable. It's never faked. Like, you're just always going to get Boldenone. No post-injection pain whatsoever. It's extremely smooth on injection. And it's better for strengthening your joints and tendons, so that's why I went with it.
Therefore, has similar risk for getting autism. So the key result of the study is shown here. If you look at the entire population of children, it looks like the
Yeah, when I say AI in that context, it means aromatase inhibitor, not artificial intelligence.
mother taking Tylenol increases the risk of autism in the child, which is the top line of this graph. However, if you look at siblings, whether or not the mother took Tylenol had no effect on the incidence of autism, which is the second line. In fact, if you look at other pain medications, they all seem to make autism more common when looking at the overall population. However, if you look at siblings, none of these medications do, and in fact, aspirin may even have a protective effect. The same results were seen when looking at ADHD and intellectual disability as well. So it is clear from this that it is the medical problems that lead to women needing to take acetaminophen or other pain relievers during pregnancy that actually cause childhood autism. And it's not caused by the pain medications themselves. Taking pain medication during pregnancy is a sign of some other problems that is the true risk factor for autism. The pain medication is not the cause, it is the result. As the authors of the study put it, quote, results of the study indicate that the
castrated male horses do not produce Boldenone. The reason Boldenone is in their piss is because they're getting injected with Boldenone. As far as I know, Boldenone only occurs in nature in a specific insect. Apparently there's some insect that naturally produces Boldenone.
The association between acetaminophen use during pregnancy and neurodevelopmental disorders is a non-causal association, unquote. The authors conclude by saying, quote, acetaminophen use...
Is there any other compounds you're eyeing in the future, or are Test Boldenone enough for you? Well, for right now, Test and Boldenone are enough for me. I'm probably just going to run that for a while. The only other compound that I'm particularly interested in taking is Masteron. Right now, the place that I'm getting all my stuff from, they have their Masteron out of stock. I actually bought a vial because I caught wind of, the Masteron shortage. So I have a vial of Masteron and Enthate. I just haven't used it yet. There's 2 other suppliers in Canada that have it in stock, and it doesn't seem like they have a low supply. The steroid shortage hasn't affected Canada the way it's affected the United States because of the, whole China thing. So, and again, in the future, these things probably aren't going to be hard to source, but yeah, Masteron's another compound that I'd consider adding in. That's a nice kitty. My goodness. That's a very nice kitty. When can we play Silent Hill F? Can you give me a day you expect to play? Probably mid-October. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Used during pregnancy was not associated with children's risk of autism, ADHD, or intellectual disability in sibling control analyses.
Are there any steroids from horses or other animals that humans have been known to take? Well, Trenbolone. Trenbolone was initially developed as a medication for human beings, but they ended up, the FDA ended up banning it, and for pretty obvious reasons, but they ended up using it for cattle. So that's, considered a cattle steroid that people still take.
This suggests that associations observed in models without sibling control may have been attributable to confounding, unquote. These results have been further confirmed in another similar study from Japan of 217,602 children. The study also found
all the raw materials come from China, and, I don't know why people are so fucking stupid when it comes to this. The steroids you'd get from a doctor from a TRT clinic, they come from the same sources in China. So if you're worried about raw materials, okay, well, the steroids that you'd get prescribed by a doctor literally come from the same source as China as far as the raw materials. The carrier oils may be different because UGLs may use different carrier oils and not adhere to pharma grade stuff. But yeah, the actual raw materials to make the steroids, they all come from China. So regardless of whether or not you're getting prescribed by a doctor or not, the raw materials are coming from the exact same place.
Found a weak association between Tylenol use and autism and ADHD. However, the association disappeared completely when a sibling analysis similar to the Swedish study was done. So, it's clear from the largest, most recent studies that the association between Tylenol and autism is due to the fact that women who take Tylenol during pregnancy have medical problems that predispose their infants to have autism and other neurological problems. I think it's okay to caution pregnant women to minimize or avoid medications as much as they possibly can, but the data doesn't support actually banning Tylenol for all pregnant women or blaming Tylenol for autism. However, like I said earlier, RFK Jr. is politically motivated, and part of his agenda is to make the public distrustful of pharmaceuticals in general, since big pharma conspiracy theories are part of a broader culture war to divide the American public. I think this Tylenol fear-mongering is just a warm-up for RFK Jr. because his ultimate goal is to link vaccines to autism. There's literally no valid data supporting any link between vaccines and autism, but RFK Jr.'s hand-picked anti-vaccine committee will surely come up with some bogus anecdotal or completely fraudulent evidence to allow them to say pregnant women and infants shouldn't get vaccines, which is complete nonsense, of course. However, I think I'll hold off on analyzing that decision until it's actually made. Personally, I think Trump cannot stand RFK Jr., so my hope here is that he'll fire him before such a decision can actually be made. I got a lot of pushback when I did my video defending the COVID vaccine a few years ago, and for the record, I stand behind everything I said in that video 100%. But we're not just talking about the COVID vaccine anymore, chums. We're also talking about childhood vaccines like the mumps vaccine, measles and rubella vaccine, the chickenpox vaccine, and even the polio vaccine. RFK Jr. is threatening to bring America back to the era of the iron lung. These vaccines that RFK Jr. hates so much have been wildly successful in eliminating these horrible childhood diseases that can be fatal or crippling in many cases. This isn't just speculation either. We're already seeing a dramatic resurgence of measles in the country due to vaccine denialism spread on social media by idiots like RFK Jr. as well as other social media influencers who have politicized vaccines. Now, I know this is a hair loss channel, but some things just need to be called out, and I'll continue to do that. But hopefully, RFK Jr.'s time as the head of the HHS is numbered. Donald Trump takes great pride in his Project Warp Speed initiative, which greatly accelerated the development of the COVID vaccine back when the virus was at its most deadly. So even though I've been critical of Donald Trump on this channel before, I think he showed tremendous leadership during that point of his administration. It was definitely a high point of his presidency. So,
all right. I'm gonna go to bed now. I don't have to train tomorrow, so I'm gonna make a video response to Greg, and then hopefully I don't get fucking exhausted and tired and oversleep, but I'm gonna plan to stream around 6 p.m. Eastern tonight. And we'll probably play some games as well. And if I'm done early with the video, I might even stream earlier, so we'll see. Can you get a bicep flex before you sleep? Okay, fine. There you go, bicep flex. So, hope you all had fun. Big thanks to everybody who donated on Streamlabs, really appreciate it. I will see you all tomorrow, and sweet dreams.